Oh, and we're live. Welcome in, everyone.
Hello.
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 Wow.
G just said that he won't be here because he's celebrating Hogmanay. Yeah,
Hogmanay.
sure. Scottish
What
New Year's
is
Eve,
that?
apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's news to me. I didn't know.
Yeah. Never heard of it.
Oh, okay. I see a Jenny fart. Okay, there's the Jenny wipe. There you go.
Lovely.
I love that emote. It's great. LTP. Need to do some animated ones. But yeah, welcome in, everyone. Happy New Year's Eve. Yay!
Hello.
I was gonna do sound alert for fireworks, but I figured you guys would probably have enough of that over there.
Yeah, we will have.
I don't know about Demo. Are fireworks legal where you're at?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's just the shitty dumb ones are legal.
Do you get bottle rockets?
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we get like the little smoke bombs and the like snakes and poppers and stuff, but nothing fun.
If well, so fireworks are legal in Wisconsin, just east of us. So you just drive an hour and get yourself some fireworks, and then hope that your neighbors don't call the cops. It's pretty much what most people do.
Fair play. Well, where I am, it's pretty much any firework you want, you can get your hands on.
Yeah, nice.
Jeez, of course. Ungovernable.
Yeah, to the point that my local Asda store is doing fireworks.
Jeez.
It's not even a big superstore. It's one of the actual Asda locals.
Oh my god, yeah, the little ones.
Yep.
Jeez. That's wild. I can't even imagine. I mean, granted, there are places in the United States that have like that kind of thing. Like, just pick up a firework anywhere. And like, I think anyone, like almost anyone, I think you have to be 18 technically to buy like the mortars and stuff, but pretty sure like bottle rockets and firecrackers you don't. I'm sure I went around to a corner shop and just picked up some random fireworks in Ohio.
I mean, even as a kid, I used to be able to go into the local shop and just buy any firework I wanted.
Wild.
But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, people still get their hands on them, obviously.
I used to
get
absolutely
sparklers,
love the
Jay.
air bombs.
We get sparklers. That's like the one thing we're allowed is like sparklers. Like, yay, tiny metal
Yeah,
fragments
and
getting
it's
everywhere.
Sparkler that causes the most injuries.
Yeah, because they literally shoot out little tiny metal fragments. Like, definitely not a good thing.
And kids are like moths to a flame. Like, oh, that's bright! Crunch.
Oh god, that sounds awful. Ow.
Yeah.
Because sparklers have what? There's like magnesium or something, so they burn really hot.
Yeah, what is it? Magnesium phosphate?
And it's really hard to put a sparkler out other than dunking it. They don't burn underwater, do they? I don't think they burn underwater.
I don't know. I've never tried.
Now we want to experiment. At the same time, I don't though. That's not a good idea. No, they don't burn. Okay, okay, but still though, like the only way to extinguish them would be to like dunk them, because you could like put your hand over one, you could snuff it out, but it would hurt like hell. I would not recommend that.
I'll tell you what is fun though.
Huh?
When you put an air bomb in a post box.
Jesus.
You know, like in England,
very illegal.
You know, over here in England, you have the red pillar boxes on the end of the street.
Yeah.
Put an air bomb in one of them.
Oh, I'm sure it's great, but that is a federal crime over here. You could get in big trouble because you're messing with the mail, and we've had enough problems with people messing with, explosives in the mail over here. Reminds me of, a certain someone who sent a load of letters with things in them. Oh God, we're definitely on a watch list now. Son of a bitch. Not that we weren't already. But yeah, a certain uni guy that sent certain things through certain postal programs.
Okay.
Are you not familiar?
Apologies.
The Unabomber?
Nope.
What? Dude. It's a very interesting story because what was the Unabomber's name? Damn it.
Oh man, I don't remember.
Hold on, Google. I was just watching a thing on it too. Ted Kaczynski. Okay. So Ted Kaczynski was a genius. He had like an IQ of 160 or something. It was like way up there. Yeah. He was a genius. And he skipped like the majority of high school. He was in college, like our university at 16, going to Harvard. I believe Harvard.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Or MIT. Damn it, I can't remember. Either way, he was going to like one of those really like ritzy, like high-end, like technical schools where, you know, he's getting a top tier education, right? And he breezed through that as well, but the whole time he was very antisocial and like, you know, obviously it's tough for a 16-year-old to blend in with, you know, 20-year-olds, etc. And and also he was smarter than them, so that also ostracized him. So he breezed through college, and by the time he was of like a normal college age, he was a teacher. He got a teaching position at Berkeley in California. So he was still ostracized there because he was a super young teacher. And it's like, this guy did not get a break from the social pressures. And like, he just never blended in with people. He never like had friends or anything like that. And eventually it got to him to the point that he was like, well, screw it. I don't want to deal with people. So he quit that job after like 2 years of being a teacher. And like that job wasn't like huge money or anything, but it was decent money. He took all that money and bought a piece of land out in like Montana and built himself a little shack. And he lived in this little tiny shack in the wilderness for, you know, years, only like coming home to like visit basically. And even when he was out there, his closest neighbor was probably like a mile away or something, but he still got annoyed because people would drive through his property unknowingly and they would ride like quad bikes and such. And he would write in his like journal about how like he hated these people and wanted to, you know, harm them. That was like where the first inkling of something going wrong was. Good evening, Jane. How we doing? Happy New Year.
Evening, Jane.
So he basically was writing in this journal how he wanted to hurt people, and he kind of like, just after a while of living off the land and like kind of stewing in his like self kind of like pity thing, he started becoming more and more violent. He eventually started like, there was a sawmill down the hill from him, and he hated that business because it made like noise and there's machinery going and all that, and it ruined the nature. He started hating technology and the industrial, you know, system that we live in, and he burnt down like part of this sawmill.
Okay.
And after that, he started like lashing out and devising ways to like take down the, you know, the modern technological system and stop progress on society essentially. So his plan was to connection issues. Everything's good on my end. Stable bit rate. Try refreshing, Jane. But he decided that he was going to start just kind of like bombing learning institutions. So he sent small packages. Well, first he dropped them off in person. Like he would actually take like a bus and drive down to like these college campuses. And the first bomb that he ever did was too big to fit inside the mail slot. So he left it next to the mailbox, and some random person came along and touched it, and it blew up. And
Shit.
it didn't actually like really hurt the person. Like it just kind of went pop, and it didn't explode with any like enough force to really do any damage.
Yeah.
Minor burns and such, but nothing permanent. So he was decided, like, he's like, okay, well, I need to get better at this. And all his bombs had very simple triggers, and they were very simple little contraptions, and a lot of it was made of wood because he was just using what he had. He had a shitload of wood, and he would basically put these little pipe bombs together and just try them out, essentially. So, like, before he did anything big, he would just make these little tiny bombs and put them through the mail. And eventually, like, he started doing, was mailing them to the presidents and the higher ups at these, like, educational facilities where he went to
They
school.
were ever going to get through.
well, no. So back then, this was like what? It had to be the 70s, maybe? Somewhere in that timeline. So back then, they didn't scan the mail. They didn't have like any X-ray or anything like that. This was what caused all of that. But, they didn't do any of that. So they just sent it right through, and eventually got one to land on like the desk of this guy. But his secretary opened it, and it actually hurt her. Like, it didn't kill her. It hurt her. Not life-threatening or anything, but, definitely not a fun time. And then he only ever got around to like actually bombing like what his intended target like a couple of times. A lot of times random people would get the brunt of it because it would be something silly like, the secretary opening it or someone finding the package early and, attempting to intervene or whatever. And then he decided that he was going to try to blow up a plane. So he set a trigger to an altimeter so that it would go off at a certain altitude. And I think that was, he was smart. He was a very smart guy, and he knows how to build all these little things. And so that plane, that bomb, actually I think it got found out before the plane ever made it up in the sky or anything, or it didn't go off, one of the two. But either way, he had a few fail on him because, like, he wasn't seasoned yet.
I was going to say, for someone who's got an IQ that, someone with an IQ that high, he certainly weren't very smart, was he?
Well, he was also dealing with what he had on hand, to make these pipe bombs with.
He also didn't have the internet to help him, figure out how you do that.
So the FBI and everything got involved, and they noticed that there was markings, like he signed his work. They found an intact bomb, and they were able to
That's dumb.
They were able to It didn't sign it Ted Kaczynski, but he signed it like with a little signature on there. And he started placing like false flag kind of things inside his bombs to make it seem like he was part of like this greater organization and multiple people were making these bombs. But like every single bomb that he ever built was very similar. So he was trying to basically place the blame on a world, I think it was like World First or something like that, Earth First, which was like a eco group that was like, wanted to basically do the same thing as him. He like kind of subscribed to that way of thinking.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to kind of pit this organization against these colleges and the whole system and everything, and didn't end up working because the FBI kind of figured it out that it was just one guy.
Yep.
And I forget what fatal flaw that he made. Like he made some like big mistake in how he got his hands on explosives and stuff to make these devices with, and then they ended up like catching on to the fact that it was him, and they ended up raiding his little shack and catching him. it like basically red-handed. And yeah, he had a whole manifesto. He was trying to hold the world hostage, and like said that like, oh, if you don't read my manifesto out on live TV, I'm gonna keep sending the bombs out or whatever. So he had this whole manifesto, which I don't know if they actually ended up publishing.
Make a film about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because the name does actually ring a bell.
I'm pretty sure that there's like all sorts of like movies and documentaries, and I know there's lots of documentaries on them, but yeah, that's a fun way to start the show off. To start off the show, yeah.
Fair play. Each their own, man.
I mean, yeah. Emily suggested it might be him because of the phrase "eat your cake and have it too," if I remember correctly. Or something.
Some people are into knives, some people are into guns, some people are into bombs.
Well,
whatever floats your boat.
I just find it fascinating, human behavior, right? Like, you have this genius, this beautiful mind, and it was so ostracized by society and fed up with how people are like, how people treat each other, you know, that he's like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna blow everyone up then. If that's the way you want him to do it. Like, it's someone that's too advanced for his own good, really. And you find that in a lot of you know, serial killers and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah.
They're like, they have really high IQs, or, you know, like they were just kind of like loners essentially. It's like the people that don't get a lot of attention or were never loved enough as a kid or something, like, tend to be the ones that turn into psychopaths.
Yeah.
Just find it wild and fascinating how the human mind works like that, you know, like, what is it? What was the straw that broke the camel's back, you know, that makes these people do the things that they did? But it's like, you hear about some of these people's like upbringing, and you're like, okay, well, that's just a recipe for disaster. You know,
I'll tell you, the one thing that fascinates me is, you know, like you get the obviously you have guard dogs and things like that, but the way some people are able to train the dog to have a trigger on a certain word that they hear. And it can switch the dog from a placid family pet to a killer within a second.
Yeah, like her. She may seem very docile and cute right now. Have the trigger word ready to go if I need it. No. But that's
Today I found out my cat's trigger word.
Oh, food?
And that was bath.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
I had to bath 2 cats today.
Ooh.
How are you not covered in scratches?
Because I wore a hoodie. But I did get as wet as the cats did.
The struggle.
Yeah.
You know, you think of cats as like this perfect little self-cleaning animal, but my cat doesn't. She can't. I don't think she can reach where she needs to like get rid of some of the mats on her fur.
Well, she's older, right?
No, that was the other one. That one is no longer with us. We had to put her down.
Sorry to hear that.
She was 20-something years old, dude. That's old for a cat.
The funny thing was, when I bathed Jack first, which is the tabby one, he was like obviously meowing and that really deep growly meow type thing they do.
Oh yeah.
And the black cat was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Well, smart.
I had to, after I'd finished Jack, I had to go off and find Dooley to bring him back downstairs so I could do him. And all the time he's meowing and hissing and whatever it is, noises he's making. The other one's sitting at the kitchen door, meowing back at him.
Yeah, they're talking. They're like, "Please help me, rescue me."
That was the way he was doing it and looking at him. It was like, fucking man up. I've just had it done.
Right? She's just like, "Shut up." Or just they're making fun of one another, like, "Ha ha, you're getting it now. Ha ha ha. You thought you could escape." I don't think so.
It's nice to finally have cats that are fucking free of fleas.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the worst. You know what? I actually, when I had a kitten, he had fleas. Oh, it was bad. And I put some brewer's yeast in with his food, and it killed the fleas really quick. I don't know how or why, but one minute they're all crawling all over. What?
Did you say brewer's yeast?
Yeah, brewer's yeast.
Okay.
I just sprinkled it on their food, and he ate it, and next thing you know, no fleas. Yeah. I don't know. It's old wives' trick kind of thing. I don't know.
I shall order
Cat
something.
maintenance with slightly buzzed.
Yeah, yeah. Who would have known? But yeah, what my roommate's cat there, Confetti. She is a very long-haired cat, and she tries her best. You know, she gets the places that she could get, but she gets mats all along the ridge of her back, and you could basically, it's like a handle. You could probably pick her up by that damn mat. It's like one big ass dreadlock. And I'm like, this poor cat, because every couple of months we have to like shave a huge section of her back. So she's just got a big bald spot. It's got like a
Brutal.
reverse mohawk. Poor little cat. But she's so cute. But yeah, you think cats can like maintain themselves, like, you know, it's a cat. How would they do it in the wild? I'm just, you know, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, you ever like see a deer that gets in a fight with another deer and that like breaks off the other one's antler with his antler, and then he's just got another antler stuck to him as they get intertwined. Yeah. It's like kind of like that, where it's just like nature just runs its course. It's gonna do what it's gonna do, you know. And if it means that one of the animals that like dies in the process or something, and then that's just what happens. It's nature. It eventually.
You know what they call that, Nick?
What's that?
The circle of life.
It's true, but it's like people try to help all these little animals, and you're just like, you realize that you're intervening with nature at that point, because it's like humans are the reason that like nature isn't functioning the way it should function, you know? This is my Ted Kaczynski moment. Like, humans intervene with nature a lot, right? We disturb their, you know, breeding patterns. We interrupt their normal, like, migrational flow and everything. And it's like, nature without us would be fine. But we build roads on where they are normally like hibernating or breeding or migrating or whatnot. And next thing you know, people are running over deer and getting into car accidents. And it's like, it's our fault. Oh, God damn it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what you did inviting me on this show.
You know, I don't often play the soundboard on here, but I feel like I just have to. But nature is like this ecosystem, you know, like everything is harmonious, and like animals don't like typically get out of control. It's like, yes, certain animals will go away because of one thing or another and like go extinct, but it's like natural selection. It's what nature intended.
More animals have been made extinct because of mankind.
Oh yeah, look at what we did with buffalo. Whoops. Like, hey, look at this giant animal. We could use it for this or this or this. Let's kill them all. Genius.
Yep.
Beautiful.
They know what they did. Well, it's their fault for being so delicious, I guess. Ever have a bison burger? It's delicious. But like, but yeah, I don't know how the hell we got started on this topic. Jesus.
Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, you know, if you think about it, humans are the reason why there's a lot of problems with the world. You know, we could say like global warming and all this, and greenhouse gases and plastics.
Which again was caused by mankind.
Yeah. But it's like humans take what's given to us and adapt and adjust according to our preference and you know, because like plastic, technically it exists, it's in nature, except it's in all different components and it's, you know, never going to happen without human intervention, right? And then we use that plastic one time and then throw it away and put it in a giant pile and then bury it in like a giant landfill somewhere, which is, you know, taking up a whole bunch of room. Nick is fishing for a company on the list. Oh God, no. Top 10, no. But like, you know, for our own convenience, right? So like carrier bags, you know, they charge you guys NP or whatever per bag or whatever, and it's because people throw them away. People just go home, take the stuff out of the bag, throw it away.
Mhm.
And that's killing the earth because plastic doesn't break down. But like, I don't know, I just feel like we need to take cues from nature, right? Like we have this beautiful thing called hemp. Hemp is like such a great thing, right? Natural, grows, it doesn't kill soil, doesn't take a lot to grow it. It grows like
I've got plenty of it here.
it grows similar to like bamboo, just like just if you let it grow wild, it just grows. And you don't need to like really take care of it that much. You don't need to like put a bunch of fertilizer on it and, you know, make sure it's trimmed and perfect or anything to get what you need out of it for, you know, industrial use or textiles, or you can make biodegradable plastics with it. Hey, but yet we won't accept it because it's in the same family as something that's illegal. You know, it's related to cannabis, and we just that's not right. We can't have that.
Well, now people are making cannabis, you know, making like actual psychoactive stuff out of it anyway. So it's, you know,
Right, and that's well, yeah, that's the thing. You give us an inch and we'll take a mile, no matter what. Human
Right.
beings.
yeah, of course.
So if you go, okay, well, you can have hemp. You can have hemp. So we grow hemp and we find out like, well, hemp, it's in the same family and it still produces a little bit of what we are looking for out of it. And if hemp is legal to buy, grow, sell, whatever, then technically we could just take this little tiny bit that we need from it and turn it into something else and then sell that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's where we're at currently, you know, like instead of like synthesizing some random mystery drug, we just take something that was originally comes out of the earth and repurpose it for, once again, human consumption and our own pleasure rather than necessity, I suppose. But
Ted.
this is my manifesto.
For me, it is more necessity than pleasure.
Right. Well, okay. No, I'm talking more specifically about like the Delta compounds, the Delta 910, HHC, etc., which is primarily derived from the hemp plant.
Mhm.
And like we have the ability to do this, and like slowly the government's catching on and starting to, you know, make laws about it because, oh, we can't have this, you know. Oh no, too much power in your hands, your little tiny infant hands. We must let Papa Government control us. Sound like Ted.
I mean, none of my weed goes to waste.
Good, good. I'm glad.
And I mean, none of it. I don't smoke it.
Hmm.
I vape it. But, you know, that pot has got the ground up stuff in it.
Hmm.
That pot has got the used stuff in it.
Oh, the reclaim.
Oh yeah, the ABV, if you will.
That's it.
Hmm.
And all I do is once a year, I'll go on Amazon and order myself a batch of the food grade pill capsules, put the AVB in that, and then use it as edibles as well.
Smart.
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah, it's smart. Because there's still some stuff left in there. And it still has the benefits. But
We
yeah,
used to make back in college. We used to make butter out of that, and it was just
Yeah.
tasted so gross because it's just the ABV is bad.
we were kind of discussing that post stream last week about how, you know, how to get more out of it than you can, right? Because it's like it still looks like it's gonna do the part, but it tastes terrible.
Yeah.
You don't want to vape
Yeah.
it again, or you don't want to smoke it, or you don't want to
Yeah, no, you
blast
definitely
it.
don't want to smoke an AVB because
No.
it, like you said, it does literally taste like you've licked an ashtray.
Yeah, but like
Well, and it's
ingesting
got
it.
this weird like. It almost tastes like you're smoking wood, you know,
Yeah.
like or something like that. Like it's because it doesn't have any terpene. Well, yeah, it doesn't have any of the stuff that makes it taste good
Mhm.
left in it. So
Yeah, as I say, it does me a treat.
I mean,
Helps me sleep, helps me with my anxieties,
it's awesome.
and it also helps me with the pain from my back.
It's such a multi-purpose tool, and wouldn't you know, it grows out of the ground.
Exactly.
But if you look at like the history and the story of like why it was made illegal in the first place, I think it's pretty messed up, and it shows a lot of like how evil the government can be, because basically it was a political campaign. It was a smear campaign against the cannabis industry, because hemp was basically ready to take over the
yeah,
forestry
the lumber
industry.
I
Yeah, the
think.
lumber.
Yeah.
So one of the I don't remember what year specifically, but one of the candidates basically had interest in the hemp industry, and the other had interest in the timber industry, and he basically created this term called marijuana that made it sound more exotic and, to be fair, Mexican. They wanted to
Mhm.
make it a smear
Yeah.
against
Oh yeah.
Mexican, because they don't want like,
Yep.
oh, dangerous. People go crazy. Reefer Madness, the movie, was made because of it.
Yeah. It's like, hello, have you ever actually seen a Rastafarian go mental because he's had a joint?
Never. But like, they created this term about like, you know, marijuana and how reefer madness was going on, and it's like makes people crazy and like sex craved and all that. They listen to jazz music and go nuts and start grabbing women and this and that. It's like,
Oh no, jazz.
well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's like during that time, like jazz music was looked at like it was the devil.
Well, that's because people of color were doing the jazz music.
Yeah, yeah. But like, that's all our government's influence. It's people trying to gain more power by basically bringing others down.
It was fine with rock and roll.
Same with rock and roll. I mean, jazz scene, not just jazz music. Yes, the whole jazz scene is like, yes, those jazz heads listening to their records or whatever. Did they even have records back then? Or was it on the machine, like the wax drums?
I mean, some groups of people still declare that heavy metal is the devil's music.
Well, it is, you know.
Well, he might have had a hand in it.
But it's like, the end of the day, genres and stuff come about because of oppression, right? Like a group of people feel ostracized and they decide to break off and do stuff differently, which is like a lot of what happens in history. Look at any bit of history and you'll find a group of marginalized people being oppressed, breaking away, doing their own thing, and then it becoming socially acceptable. That's like the majority of history.
Help, I'm being oppressed.
That's how Rhode Island was founded. The the people that founded, Boston and Massachusetts and everything, the Puritans, mind you, were not religious enough for a group of people, and they decided to break away and start their own colony. So they did, right. And that's how they started Rhode Island. And they were like ultra religious. They were like super like God. I don't know. But yeah. So that's basically how a lot of history went down, And a lot of times it could even be down to one person, Hitler, Yep. Hitler was ostracized because he failed at art school. And then he decided that he was going to get back at everyone by gaining ranks in the Third Reich and starting his own thing. Well, the Nazi Party, right? Like the Nazi, the Nazi Party existed before Hitler.
Was it the National Socialist, something or other?
Yeah, I heard. But he's like, all right, well, screw it. I'm going to take over this group of people that are all pissed off, and we're going to cause some trouble and, make some trouble for other people. And then took it way, way, way too far.
Yep.
A Hitler was inevitable. Exactly.
Well, I'd have to agree with that. Unfortunately.
I mean, and we don't learn from our own history, obviously, because we keep repeating it. We're still repeating it. Like no one, we put the blinders on, most people.
The problem with history is it is always written by the victor.
Yeah. You don't hear about, the people that existed before another country came in and took it over, Britain. And there's traces of that all over the world to this day.
Yep.
And people are still being oppressed to this day by the people that did that. Like, we only got rid of apartheid, like, what? 20, 30 years ago? Maybe?
And some people would say that it
still
never
exists.
Really ended.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you actually...
Like officially, yes.
Yeah, officially.
Unofficially.
But there's still neighborhoods in South Africa that are very segregated.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just find it crazy. Humans are just crazy little creatures. Human behavior is such a wild thing to study. I should have been an anthropologist. But
one of my favorite classes in college, actually.
But like, it's the reaction to being oppressed is another thing that I find interesting. It's like, in some cases you get dictators, in some cases you get serial killers, in some cases you get, these marginalized groups of people. You get cults, out of all of this.
But what it's all about ultimately is power, right? Is reclaiming power for the person who felt marginalized and felt, oppressed, right? And then that just ultimately just goes way, way, way too far.
Yeah, because it's overlooked in a lot of cases. Like, oh, well, we don't have that. We don't have a big problem, in Waco, Texas. It's just a group of religious people. They're just doing their own thing. They got their little compound.
Yeah.
And if you look at Waco from an outsider's point of view, they were being they were the ones being oppressed because all they wanted to do, I mean, not saying they were perfect, right? The whole story of the Seventh-day Adventists are very weird and interesting. Another sect of a religious group that didn't have exactly the same belief, so they broke off. And then it was a sect within that sect that broke off again and became, oh, what was it? The David Koresh thing. I forget what they were called. Davidians.
Branch Davidians.
Branch Davidians, right. Branch Davidians are a sect of Seventh-day Adventists. So it's like a marginalized religion within a marginalized religion. And it all breaks down to Christianity is like the overall, group that they belong to, right? So like it's like several layers deep of being marginalized. And then they have this one little tiny group that decided to build their little compound. And that compound was there before. They just basically, like, they had the land and they just kept it up to date and built on as needed when more people joined. But you had this, like, during that time, it was, kind of like going through the hippie movement and, that kind of thing. And, like, a lot of people were experimenting with a lot of things. But, like, David Koresh always welcomed anyone who wanted to hang out at the compound to just come hang out. They held ice cream socials. They held like dances and parties and stuff that anyone was welcome to in town, not just the group themselves. Well, he knew what he was doing, yeah. But like the things that the government focused on, the weapons manufacturing and whatnot, they were doing legally. They had people that were gunsmiths that lived on the compound, and they made money by updating firearms and converting firearms and building firearms. That's what they did. And
pretty much
the government sort of made up a little story about like how they had like grenades and stuff or whatever. They had like some things that they thought they had on these guys, but it wasn't really all there. And then they also just completely made up the whole thing with the fact that the kids were in danger. I mean, granted, David Koresh did marry a 14-year-old, but in Texas, as according to state law, if you have your parents' permission, you can get married at 14. And somehow David Koresh was so charismatic that he won these parents over and married their daughter.
Crazy.
And he had several different wives at that point too. So like, but this is a thing that he made up too. Like David Koresh is the type that would go away for a few days and say, I gotta go talk to God. And he'd go away.
Yeah.
And he'd write, and he comes back and he goes, okay, this is what I wrote. Let's take a look at it. And he goes, okay, I am allowed to marry as many people as I want. I need to procreate as much as I can. Blah, 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 blah. And like, basically he just kind of made it up. I mean, it depends on how much you believe what he says, but or how religious you are and whatnot. But he said that he could talk to God, and God told him to do this. Branch Davidians were questionable with the same department as at the same time did Ruby Ridge. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, I feel like people look at Ruby Ridge and go, oh, sympathy, sympathy, sympathy. And people look at what happened at Waco and we're like, oh, they were bad. They were diddling kids and stuff. It's like, nah, they were kind of the same. Or I feel real bad for Ruby Ridge, though, man. That sucks. Like, I do have sympathy for the people at Ruby Ridge, because how would you feel if someone came onto your property and shot your dog and shot your kid? Well, your kid comes out because he heard a shot, and then you find your dog dead, and then since you've got a gun, they shoot the kid, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, now we have a standoff.
I'm afraid to say I'm English. I have no idea what Ruby Ridge is.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm getting
you have to title this episode "Cults and Such."
Yeah, right. Human behavior, strange human behavior. There's the Weaver family. Okay, let me just gonna read it. Ruby Ridge was the site of an 11-day siege of a cabin occupied by the Weaver family in Boundary County, Idaho, in August 1992. Began on August 21st when deputies of the United States Marshal Service came to arrest Randy Weaver under a bench warrant after his failure to appear on federal firearms charges. During a surveillance operation, Officer Art Roderick shot Weaver's dog when it ran at him and pointed his rifle at Weaver's armed son, Sammy. Sammy then fired at the team, who fired back. Sammy was shot and killed. In an ensuing exchange of fire, Weaver's friend Kevin Harris, who shot and killed Deputy Marshal William Francis Deegan. That's a lot of names. Weaver, Harris, and members of Weaver's immediate family refused to surrender. The hostage rescue team of the Federal Bureau of Investigation became involved as the siege was mounted. In the standoff, FBI sniper Lon Oriuchi shot Weaver, then shot Harris, but the second shot also hit and killed Weaver's wife, Vicky, the only fatality of the siege itself. The conflict was ultimately resolved by civilian negotiators. Harris surrendered and was arrested on August 30th. Weaver and his 3 daughters surrendered the next day. So, long story short, the guy didn't show up for court for like a little gun charge, you know. I forget what exactly he did, but basically they just went at him full force with the U.S. Marshals, who came onto his property and didn't announce themselves.
Right.
And the dog, like, I don't think the dog was even aggressively running at them. They just shot the dog. And then the kid came out because they shot the dog and they shot the kid. And then, yeah. Wouldn't you be pissed off?
Oh, goddamn, yeah.
I would be fucking pissed and be like, who are you people? You shot my dog and my kid? Like, get the fuck off my property. You psychopaths. I didn't show up for a gun charge thing. Oops. And it was a clerical error. I've done a little bit of homework on this topic as well. It was a clerical error. Literally, some office clerk somewhere didn't, like, tell him that his date got changed, and that's why he missed his court date. All of this would have been changed by a letter and a stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I mean, granted, if he didn't commit a federal offense in the first place, I guess there's that. But I mean, shit. They change the laws so often. Demo, you could chime in on how confusing and complicated and bullshit the American gun laws are.
Oh, I mean, it's a minefield. Like, my favorite, a really good example that's happening right now, right, and it's relevant today, is the difference. And someone's probably Dire thing is going to pop into chat and be like, "Oh, it's changed again." But the last time I was aware of it, there's a law that says if you want a short-barreled rifle, right, which is a rifle that has a barrel that's shorter than 16 inches, I think it is, or 14 and a half with a welded and tapped muzzle brake, or pin and welded muzzle brake. Anyway, it's a whole other thing. Basically, if you want a rifle that's shorter than that, you have to get a special tax stamp and go through a whole thing and blah, blah, blah. But if you put an arm brace on the end of it instead of a stock, right, which is essentially a stock looking thing that, like, is supposed to strap to your arm, but there's nothing that prevents you from shouldering it, right? Because it looks like a stock and basically functions like a stock. Nope, that's a pistol now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a stock. So now it's a pistol, so it falls under a different set of laws and is fine. Right. So, and as Dire Thing says, and the ATF approved arm braces, no less. I don't think they really intended for it to be used in that way because, like, there are legit pistols that have, like, arm braces that, and stuff like that. However, the gun manufacturers were like, wait a second.
But it's about all these different laws.
Yeah, you can have real short barreled ARs,
Right. And, like, you have all these different variants about, like, okay, well, if it's over this long but under this long, it's this. Like, the definition of a rifle has changed so much. It's like, what's a rifle? Yeah. What's a carbine? What's a pistol? No one fucking knows anymore. It's like, how do you...
Well, and they're constantly changing, too. So today you might be complying with the law, and tomorrow you might be committing a felony, Like, so it's, it's a minefield.
And, one of the big things was, what was it? The rotary triggers, was it binary trigger or was it like a rotary trigger where you could...
A bump
Bump stock, yeah.
no,
That's
or
the
no,
thing.
pump stock. That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. So basically, a bump stock is like a little squishy uh, thing in where your stock is, and it basically bumps the gun back forward. So if you hold your finger
slaps the
static,
trigger.
if you hold your finger static, it'll go off again, right? Because it'll press the trigger back when the gun goes forward. So essentially, you could technically fire a semi-auto as fast as you could fire,
Kind of almost like full
kind of
auto,
almost
but not
full
quite.
auto, but not really. And that was the whole thing with the Las Vegas shooting.
Okay.
Depends
Fair
on what,
Forced reset triggers.
depends
Oh, yeah.
on what conspiracy theories you subscribe to, though. So essentially, yeah, you can just go pop, 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 instead of like semi-auto. Technically, it's still semi-auto because every trigger pull is one cycle of the weapon, but you know, it will make it a hell of a lot easier to pull that trigger a lot faster.
It's like over here, you have to be licensed to own any form of firearm, right? But a shotgun is considered to be a farm implement.
Mm-hmm. It's a tool,
Right.
Yeah.
like a hoe.
Exactly. So anyone, apart from people with a criminal record, can apply for a shotgun license. Right? Obviously, you have to have two safes in your property. One for the firearm, one for the ammo. Can't have them in the same safe. That shotgun can only hold a maximum of 3 rounds. Or 3 shells, sorry. If you have anything that holds more than 3 shells, you have to apply for a Section 1 shotgun license. Which means you're then coming into the category of like the barrack borers and that, which are like the semi-auto shotguns.
Yeah. Historical. Yeah, that's right. Gatling guns over here, historical curio. So there's no rules when it comes to
sweet.
that. So if you can get one, you know. But you're not talking about like a
We're-
minigun, the dire
no,
thing.
we're
You're talking
talking
about the hand crank. Yeah.
Hand cranked, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, handguns like pistols and that, we're not allowed to own. Unless it has an arm brace fitted.
Oh, wait, what?
Because if it has an arm brace fitted, it is then an unconcealable weapon.
Interesting. Okay.
You could totally conceal it
Mm-hmm.
with a jacket and a sling. Ta-da!
And if you want any form of actual rifle, again, you have to go through a strict vetting process to get your license. Your home has to be checked to make sure the safes are fitted correctly and that. Plus, they go back into your family's mental history, your mental history. And if you've got any form of depression or anything like that on your record, kiss goodbye to your license.
Yeah. Well, there was okay, an 1899 Gatling crank handle is roughly the same fitment as a GM alternator pulley. Dyer,
I brought this one out.
I think Dyer's on more lists, but I feel like he knows how to be safe about his browser history.
If you want to own a silencer in this country,
Boy,
you have to have a separate license for that as well.
same
Well,
over
that's
here.
not. That's
Yeah.
same over here. It's very difficult to get a silencer. Well, okay. Let me
Suppressor.
rephrase. It's not very difficult to get a suppressor over here. However, you do have to go through a big process, and it takes forever. And like it's.
I knew a guy that had
It's kind of a nightmare.
he had a pretty large rifle. I forget what caliber, but he waited an entire year between the time that he filed the paperwork and it eventually got approved. But like, you have to wait a long time and pay not so insignificant sum of money to be able to purchase one. So the thing is, right over here, you have to purchase it before you do the paperwork. So you have to purchase it from a dealer. The dealer has to say that, yes, I have this suppressor for this person. Here's the serial number. you have to file the paperwork in conjunction with the dealer to the, I'm assuming ATF. Sure. They have to then go through the process of vetting you and, your reasoning and rationale why you need the suppressor. And then after a set amount of time, it gets back to you, and then you can actually possess the suppressor.
Mhm.
So it's like a lot of things, though, in this country. It's legal for you to buy it, technically, but it's not legal for you to possess it. So
Mhm.
you could buy something, but you just can't have it in your home. You can't own it,
Oh, and the other thing here is every single shell or bullet that you have has got to be recorded.
Wow. Damn.
You have to be able to list every single bullet you have in your cabinet and shotgun cartridge. And you're only allowed up to a set amount that's on your license.
Yeah. I mean, over here, people stockpile that kind of stuff, though.
Mhm.
They get, like, surplus crates and crates and crates. There's, like, one guy, it's got to be Texas, that has, like, a collection of historical firearms and weaponry and all that.
Mhm.
He's got warehouses full of, like, old surplus military vehicles, tanks. He's got several tanks privately owned on his property, and he's got thousands and thousands. Like, he could stock a small militia with the amount of firearms this guy's got. And it's all like, M16, like Vietnam era M16s and stuff like that. But, like, he's got a museum at his house.
Mhm.
And it's privately owned. He owns every single one of them. And, like, probably close to millions of rounds of ammunition. I just can't fathom the amount of paperwork that you would have to go through to own that much weaponry.
But the weird thing again about here is the antique firearms, we're perfectly legal to go and buy. Anyone.
My dad's got a musket.
Hmm?
And he doesn't have an FFA.
See, muskets and flintlocks and wheel locks, things like that, we don't need a license for over here.
So you could
Because
commit
they're
some.
not considered to be firearms. They're considered to be antiques.
You could commit some oldie timey crime over there. I say, sir, you put your hands up forthright.
And I was reading something the other day about what the old bill are doing with people buying knives in this country and that now.
Oh boy.
And
How much trouble are you in?
Oh, I'm expecting letters through the post. I'm expecting letters through the post saying that we know that you're buying knives. We know that you've not bought any knives that are illegal to own in this country. But you are now on a register to show that you have this particular knife or that particular knife. And that every single knife that you buy, you're going to get a letter through the post offering you counselling as to why you're owning this knife.
Does that count for kitchen knives as well, or is it just like?
No, it's not kitchen knives and that you're fine with.
Oh,
of course,
okay,
of course.
yeah, great, great.
Because okay.
Stuff
So
like
when I
that.
watch, when I watch the Los Angeles Police Department's videos, right, which I do occasionally, the vast majority of knives that are used are kitchen knives because they're easy to get,
Yeah,
and they're
just
big.
grab one. Yeah. Oh man, you ever watch? Oh, it's a really old episode of Cops. There was like this huge dude. He had to be like at least 6'9" or something. He was big guy. He had a 12-inch kitchen knife, and he was high on PCP, stark naked.
Oh God.
And he's like threatening the cops with this knife, and they're like holding him at gunpoint. And eventually, someone like kind of comes up behind him and like tases him, and then they tackle him.
Yeah.
And as he's going down to the ground, the knife turns in on himself, and he stabs himself with this 12-inch blade.
Oh.
Dude, It is gnarly.
Brutal.
But he gets right back up and starts fighting every single cop that tries to arrest him. Like, dude, you got a 12-inch blade stuck in your freaking stomach.
It's like, you see that little one there,
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
right?
Ooh.
Spring assisted. Yep.
Nope,
Oh.
nope. It's a slip joint. It's just got a flipper tab on the top.
Oh.
No spring in it. But the old bill
Huh.
are talking about making them illegal.
Hi.
Because it's got the flipper tab, they're saying it's a classed as an assisted opening.
What? Come on.
I'm being serious.
Gee. Could you not do the same thing by flick? Exactly.
Well, that's the way the Spyderco that you had earlier. That's the way it's designed. Is you're supposed to flick it while also using your thumb, right? Because it
This
should be
one
able
you
to
can't.
open.
This one you can't. It's the double detent is too stiff on it. It's
Interesting. Okay.
specifically designed for the UK market.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
It's what they call the UK PK.
Yeah, I was gonna say because my Spydercos, I literally can just go, flick, and it's like pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's not effort free. Like you still
Still have
takes
to
like
get a thumb in the groove and be able to hold on to the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good knife,
I-
though.
We are not allowed to carry a locking knife with us.
Like a buck knife?
Any knife that actually is like a frame lock or
That locks in the
liner
blade?
lock.
What?
We're not allowed to carry anything that locks the blade out.
What?
Hold on. So your Spyderco doesn't have a lock on it.
Oh.
Weird.
That's crazy to me. Why?
Oh yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's kind of like a detent almost. It looks like, but like
It is. It's a double
really lock.
detent. It is. It's a double detent. There's the first one.
Okay.
Second one.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
I see what's going on there.
That's. But why?
Because your fingers, right? Like fuck your fingers.
So,
Safety, and all that.
how are you supposed to defend yourself in the UK?
With them,
No, you're just supposed to die.
This doesn't make sense.
your
Like,
feet, your head, and your hands.
people that are attacking you are gonna have something worse than whatever you have. Period.
Right, because they don't care about the laws. you
Right,
know?
Yep.
So
And they're all because of the what was it? The Borough Market terrorist attack that happened a few years ago, and the latest knife crimes in the London area. They're now talking about banning machetes in this country.
full stop.
Yep.
Because no one lives out in the woods at all. Everyone lives in the big cities.
Yeah.
There's no forests or countryside at all in England. No.
No.
No, there's no need for bush clearing or any of that, or bushcraft or camping or no.
I mean, no knife or machete or any blade object is a weapon without a human fucking handling it.
This is true. This is true with every type of weapon.
It's
That's
the
the big
same with a
argument.
gun.
It's a big argument. A weapon
A
is
gun is a tool.
a gun is a tool, and the person behind it is the psychopath that wants to use it on another person. Thinking about it, like, we sell over here machetes. We sell at like Walmart and Home Depot and stuff. Like, you can get a
Oh, yeah.
machete all over the place.
Yeah, there's zero restrictions. Well, so
I think you have to be
some
18.
states have different knife laws and stuff like that, but for stuff like that, like in my state, there is zero laws regarding edged weapons. I could buy a taser with no background check. I can, like, pepper spray is fine. Like, it's pretty much short of buying a gun. And then with the guns in my state, it's what we call a shall issue state, where if you do not have anything that would prevent you from owning a firearm, like if you don't have any federal charges or domestic violence or mental health capacities or drug charges or all of those types of stuff, then they have to sell you the gun, right? They can't, like, the NICS background check system, like, basically you cannot be denied by the government. You know, they can make you jump through some hoops. Like, you know, if I wanted to buy a pistol, I have to go get a permit to purchase that pistol. But again, it's shall issue, right? If I don't have anything preventing me, that they must issue me that permit. You know, so yeah,
it's like the whole thing where I
wild.
live. You need to provide a reason why you want to carry a concealed firearm, and it's like there's a way. The way that you get the permit to have no restrictions on your license is that, you know, when they ask you like, what are you going to be using this for, you don't say like personal protection or whatever. You just say all legal purposes. You know, that's like the catch-all, where they're just going to be like, okay, well, you know what you're talking about. You've definitely taken a class. You've been taught what to say to the people that, you know.
I think like also like recreational shooting, you know, or target shooting is also like, you know, acceptable, or, you know, there's a variety of like different things you can say, but that is a catch-all, that you can, you know. But I don't even have to do that here, you know. I just basically apply for the thing, and they say, well, you can't be denied because you don't have anything disqualifying you, so here you go, you know. And if I wanted to carry a pistol with me, I'd have to go take a class, you know, to make sure that I understand, you know, how to carry a pistol effectively, except for the fact that the class is like, at least the one I took was like a 6-hour course where like 5 of the 6 hours was just dealing with the legality of getting involved in a self-defense shooting, what to say to the cops, what not to say to the cops, you know, like all of the shit basically to protect you from legal ramifications for it. And then like 1 hour of practical concerns of like, you know, and then we went out back and shot like 7 rounds at a target, and he made sure that we could, you know, shoot and not not shoot. And I was kind of surprised. There were several people that like, there was a woman who had a revolver and she like couldn't even pull the trigger on her gun. And then the instructor gave her his gun so that she could do the test, and she did the test, passed, you know, like. well,
okay, but think about it. Think about it. In a self-defense situation,
can you do it, you know?
Think about it. In a self-defense situation, she wanted to take the class, she wanted to buy that particular gun, fine. But in a self-defense situation, if you can't use the tool that you buy, then that's your fault.
That's a problem. So the instructor, I mean, to be fair, the instructor was like, you know, you really should consider selling this and getting this, that, or the other, you know, that's going to be easier for you to operate, you know, but, you know, it was still
There's only
like,
so much you could do.
It's funny to me.
You want to carry around a Raging Bull, you know, 50 caliber pistol, the revolver, then
410 revolver shotgun.
Yeah, if you really want to go that nuts with it. But welcome back to our thing.
Well, I've got to be fair. If I lived in America, there's only 3 pistols that I'd want to carry.
Ooh, well, let's try to name states that would disqualify you. Go ahead.
What for PPK?
Many.
So in Massachusetts, go ahead.
I was going to say, as a former owner of a Walther PPK, I can tell you, you do not want a Walther PPK because for several reasons. Right? One, it sucks. The caliber sucks, right? A little 380 auto, it's terrible.
Oh, geez,
the other thing too is that the slide bites the fuck out of your hand when you fire that thing. Ooh. So like when you go practice, you're going to end up with little railroad tracks on your hand every single time because your slide's biting you. And it's heavy and doesn't really carry that much ammo. And there are like a ton of other options that would be like practically, you know, practically a better.
40 would be better than that.
The PPK is a good backup to your backup. Yeah, that's exactly.
It's a sock gun.
Yeah, like I have a Smith & Wesson. I have an M&P Shield. You know that is my carry pistol, and that's, you know, sort of about 1.5 stack. Like it holds about 9 9mm rounds, and you know it's a nice little thing. Now I will say though,
is 10+1
for coolness. It's hard to beat a PPK. You know, like, you know, James Bond.
I'd go with P99, but that's just me.
All right, so you got a PPK. What are your other 2?
Oh, Mag 50.
Okay.
No, wait. I've heard that name a million times. Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. Yeah.
And either variants of the Desert Eagle.
Okay.
You gotta get it in gold though.
The
You know,
357
that's
or
the
the
important part.
50?
Well, you've got a .45 or a 50.
Well, yeah. So they make it in 44 Magnum, 50, and 357 Magnum. There's
I didn't know about the
choices.
357 Magnum.
You want the
Cheaper.
50 though. I mean, that's
Oh,
if you're gonna
yeah.
get a deagle,
If you're
like
gonna-
you want the 50.
Okay, let's see. You can't have. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right auto mag, because there's an auto mag that's got like a cylindrical barrel and the fluted top, like thing with like it looks like a space gun. And then there's
The
an,
other thing, you don't even need a Glock 18, man. You just buy one of those switches that you see on YouTube. And I'm on a watch list.
The one I'm on about is basically a little bit smaller version of the Desert Eagle 50.
oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So that's the other one that I'm seeing right here. That is a huge freaking gun. That looks like an adaptation of RoboCop's gun there. Very similar.
I do believe the
barrel is
Robo gun
massive.
was actually loosely based on that.
That and probably
I,
the Raffica.
I'm a Sig man myself. I'm a fan of the Sig Sauers.
Yeah, I like the 6 hour 5.56.
Okay,
I like Kimber 1911 or a Glock. Glock. Can't
Yeah,
go
I mean, a
wrong with
Glock
that.
is just,
Yeah, but we
Glocks
can't
are
own
just
Glocks.
The Glocks are just too standard.
So we can't own a traditional Glock, right? Like the Glock with the trigger safety, we can't own that. We have to have a physical safety switch.
Oh, you have to have a physical. Oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, physical safeties are well, okay, I don't want to say they're useless, but they just, this is your physical safety.
Yeah.
Like
Keep
you
your
just,
booger off-
you just
hook
don't
off
put
the
your
bang
finger
bang
on the
switch.
trigger, yeah. You just
So-
don't put your finger on the trigger. Just get trigger discipline. Like,
First of all,
practice.
Mike, all three of those guns are not allowed in Massachusetts.
I
One,
guess I
are allowed
wouldn't
in
want to live in Maston.
so
Come to Minnesota. Other than it being really cold here, we can have him.
in Massachusetts, you have to have a physical loaded indication. So it has to be
Right.
like a little thing that shows that your pistol is loaded. You have to have a physical safety,
Yep.
like a safety catch, and you have to have I think it's 10+1 over here. I'm not sure if pistols are different, but I believe it's 10+1. And I mean, Desert Eagle, you're fine because it's what, 7? If you're
Yeah.
chambering in 50, 357 probably 2 more, but 44 probably 1 or 2 more than that.
So, the gun that sits beside my bed, right? It's a SIG P226 with an extended mag. I've got a 20+1 going on in that.
Jeez. Okay.
And then 2 additional mags sitting next to my bed.
Okay.
Must-
Just in
must
case
be a
there's
home
like
protection
10
there.
people rushing your bedroom.
Hey man, more bullets is better than less bullets.
Accuracy by volume.
It lets me miss 20 times and then have one good one.
I hope you have some hollow points or something.
Yep, they're barrier penetration hollow points, so they're designed to shoot through walls, but they still expand.
When it hits something
They've got a little,
fleshy.
they've got a little polymer like center in the tip, so that when it hits a wall, the polymer thing keeps it together, and then when it hits,
Something
soft
Yeah,
target,
I'm an evil fucker. I'd want the fragmenting rounds.
Jesus, Mike.
they're not as good.
No,
To
they
be
don't have a
honest,
lot
they
of
don't.
energy.
They don't. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of like people shooting the ballistic gels, and stuff like that. And the fragmenting rounds, they look like they hurt, but they don't do nearly as much damage as a good hollow point in terms of its actual like stopping power, if you will.
Yeah,
Because
can
they go in,
understand that.
it looks like a little squid. They go in and they go out really
Yeah,
fast.
pretty
So they
much.
dissipate their energy really quickly. Whereas something like a hollow point, it's going to do way more damage when it goes through, and you're more likely to get an exit wound as well. I mean, granted, if you live in an apartment or, like you guys do, you live in a single family home, right? Like your house is detached?
No,
do you
it's
have-
end of terrace.
Oh, okay. So you're just on the end. Okay. Uh, so yeah, but you know, if you have a conjoined wall with someone else, you really don't want to be accidentally shooting into your neighbor's house. Basically, that's
Well,
why.
that's one good thing about England.
Yeah.
Majority of our houses are made of brick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Is the wall in between brick?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess there's that. Ballistics would have
Yeah,
a
it's
hell of a
actually
timing.
the wall in between is actually 2 courses of brick.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, you could get whatever you want then. Fuck it. Except that Desert Eagle, that thing's gonna go through 2 layers of brick.
I mean, my house was built in the, I'd like to say about between 33 and 34.
Jesus. Okay.
So it's like every single wall in this house is made of brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold, wet brick.
Mm-hmm.
Puddle Jumper says he wants a Beretta PX4 Storm. I'm just by Googling this, I'm getting put on a watch list. Oh, that's a cute one. Yeah. Very Walther-like. I love Berettas. Berettas just have this, like, really sexy look to them. But yeah.
The 92, the M9 92FS, like those pistols have a very cool look to them. I owned a M9 for a little while. They're not really that great in the grand scheme of things. I would take it out shooting with my other pistols and I would fire like 20, 30 rounds through it and be like, I'm gonna go back to the SIG, you know, because it just didn't.
I would hate to clean it.
Wasn't as good.
It seems like a bitch to clean.
It's actually not difficult to clean at all. It's everything comes apart. I mean, the barrel comes off. Like it's all easy.
I had the airsoft.
It's very
version.
heavy.
Yeah, dude, full frame pistols. Ugh. Yeah, it's like people that have these grandiose ideas that they're gonna conceal carry a 45 or something. You're just like, okay, have fun with that.
Yeah. If you've ever tried conceal and carrying, like the best way I can describe it is take a brick, stick it in your belt, and see if you can figure out, you know, a way to make that not show through your shirt. You know, like
Oh, because that's a thing that has to
look,
happen over
you know?
here. You can't have an imprint of your gun showing.
Minnesota, there's no such law in Minnesota.
What?
Yeah, you can have. Well, okay. So when you get a permit to carry in Minnesota, right? It's not
Is it
permit to
open?
conceal and carry. It is a permit to carry, so you can carry it open or concealed, and which for
Jesus.
tactical reasons, you really
You don't want to open.
I'm of the opinion that you really don't want to open carry unless you like need to for a job or something
You're a
like that.
goddamn cowboy.
But, you know, and so like I don't want to print anyway because I don't want people to notice that I have a firearm. But you know, it's one of those things that like if you do, it's not illegal. So I did have the cops call on me in a bakery once though. It was interesting.
What?
Yeah, some mom got all freaked out because I bent over and she saw the handle of my gun poking out of my you know, off my hip.
Was it in a
it was in a holster, like inside the waistband holster. Yeah. And, you know, pretty standard situation. And so I come out of the bakery and there's a bunch of cops sitting out there waiting for me. And I walked out and I was like, hello, everyone. And they were like, hey, how's it going? You know, and they just like walked up and they were just like, yeah, we just got, you know, called, said you had a firearm. And I was like,
yes,
I do. And and they were like, you know, just basically checking it out, and they basically were like, "All right, well, you have a nice day," you know, and just left.
Did you plan on using it?
Yeah, I was just a normal guy, and I was just like, "Here's my permit," you know, like because you do have to provide your permit on demand in Minnesota.
I mean, that's
so
makes
you know,
sense.
there are some states you do not have to provide your permit on demand, nor do you have to tell the cops. Like in
Well,
Minnesota,
okay,
you actually
yeah.
don't have to tell the police that you have a firearm. You should though,
You
because
really
you know,
should.
they can see on their system that you have a permit. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
It's a good idea because it puts them at ease, you know, or at least more at ease than if you didn't do that.
So I saw a video one time of a guy open carrying, and it was in Texas. I believe I probably even told this story before, but like this guy was open carrying in Texas, just walking down the street, and for whatever reason, I think the cell phone video started when the police interaction started, because he was a law student, and the second the cops said, "Hey, stop," you know, he's like, just press the record button on his phone. and just kind of was holding it in his hand at his like, at his chest. And the
Yeah.
cop was like, yeah, we got a call that said that there's someone with a gun walking down the street or whatever. And we've had a bunch of, crime around the area lately, so we just wanted to check you out. Can I get your name and blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, no, you absolutely cannot. And they're like, well, can I ask why? And he's like, yeah, you can, but I'm not going to give you my name. And he's like, well, why won't you give us your name? Like, we just wanted to stop and identify you, make sure you're good to go, and then we'll send you on your way. He's like,
it's not a stop and identify state, though.
Right. It's not a crime to carry a firearm. Like, you have no reason to stop me and hold me, so therefore I will be on my way. And the guy's like, well, no, we're doing an investigation, and that's how people get like trumped up and stuff. Like, oh, we're doing an investigation.
Yeah. So, and that's really complicated legally, because technically, via the laws, you do not have, you're not actually impeding an investigation by following, that kind of thing. It's like, but the cops can still arrest you. That doesn't mean that the charges are going to stick, but the cops can still arrest you for impeding an investigation. So, like, this is the thing that we learned at least in my carry class, is that you want to be a good steward to the laws, right? You don't want to be an asshole about the stuff. You want to be, and so, if you truly have no reason to get chippy with the cop, right? And, if you're not really worried about, being in any sort of trouble, I guess, there's lots of situations. We went over like an hour of like different situations in which you would and which you wouldn't. But, generally complying, gets you on your way, a lot quicker.
Yeah, I'm not being funny, but it's common sense. If a copper asks you to stop and ask you your name because you're carrying a firearm, just fucking tell them, because they're already going to be skittish as fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of part of the issue with this country, really, is like,
you technically don't have to in states that are not stop and identify states, right? Because unless you're committing a crime,
understand that.
Then
simple common sense would tell you they're trying to protect the neighborhood. They want to make sure you ain't doing any wrong. You start acting the jackass, they're going to have a reason to shoot you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the American police system, though, it's very easy to get yourself in trouble without doing anything wrong. So
that's because the American legal system's a business.
So this law student, right? Like eventually they just gave up. They're just like, all right, well, screw it, whatever.
Yeah, because they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, because they couldn't do anything legally about it. The right thing to do, right, in a situation like that would be give them your permit. If they ask to see your gun or ask you to hand over your gun.
In Texas, you don't. In Texas, you don't need a permit to open carry a firearm.
Right.
You can, if you own a firearm and you're over the age of 18 or 21 or whatever the legal limit is there for that, then you can open carry it. And
that counts for your vehicle as well.
It would be somewhere like Texas or Alabama that I'd want to live.
I think you'd fit in Texas. Motorcycle, gun toting, knife carrying. You could have like your biggest
Texas.
blade, Mike. You could carry your biggest blade on your hip and no one would bat an eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, Massachusetts.
Yeah, our laws are weird here. You technically don't have to inform the police that you have a firearm if you're carrying one legally. However, if the cop asks you if you have your firearm on you because they know that you have a permit because they checked, right? You do have to answer correctly, and you can't lie. You can't be like, no, I don't.
Right.
And it's like, that's because then, that's a whole like permit violation thing and all that kind of stuff. And that's just our state,
But the thing is
27 out of 50 states are permitless. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It's crazy.
Probably all in the middle of the country.
Like Connecticut is a open carry state. You can open carry in Connecticut, but you can't in Mass. So like, if you have the cards and all that, the permits and everything for both states, then at the border you got to tuck your firearm in. But
so for instance, my permit's expired, so I don't have it anymore. But when I did, my permit would allow me to carry in the state of Wisconsin, only concealed though, because that was their laws, right? And however, the Wisconsin permit did not allow you to carry in Minnesota. So basically, Minnesota decided, Wisconsin, your permit's not good enough. Your permit process isn't good enough. It's not, as high of a standard as we have. So it doesn't transfer the other way. But our standard is more aggressive. So in Wisconsin, they were like, that's fine, Because in Wisconsin, you can take a hunter safety course. A hunter safety course, and that's all you need to get your permit. like what?
Well, that's the thing.
Like, if you're gonna make the class required, like, at least make it, something that's like helpful to them,
So that's why there's such a big movement for the 50 state carry laws, where it's like, okay,
Right.
If you have a gun permit in one state, you should be able to carry it wherever you go. And there's,
yeah, and I honestly agree with that to a certain degree. I mean, I'm not,
I
this
just
is a
think it's,
controversial stance in the world of guns, but I'm not the type of person that's like, we should have no restrictions. Like, like, I don't know if I believe that necessarily, but
I don't believe
There's got to be some form of restrictions.
right. I would be more inclined to require a background check and mental health kind of check before anything, because I think there's too many people that are like mentally unstable that can get their hands on permits. It's like, yeah, okay, if you don't have any actual crimes on your record and you might be a lunatic, and just because you haven't committed a crime yet doesn't mean you won't. And that's how a lot of people, like a lot of serial killers, will get their hands on weapons legally.
They've never committed a crime. Yeah.
They've never committed a crime. They just apply for it and they go, well, I'm planning something in my crazy little head, but, I haven't done anything yet, so I'll just go to the gun store and pick up a gun. Mass used to do that, Nick. Just never responded to the permit request for like 13 years. Ugh. But yeah, you can get the, what is it, the Utah permitters? There's like some permit, Nevada permit, something where it covers you for like a bunch of states.
Work for most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So
Minnesota is not quite as good as that, but I think our permit allows for like 13 different states or something like that. So it just depends. And then you've got states like, Alaska, where it's just like, oh, you have a gun? Yeah, that's fine. You just carry it, whatever. Like.
Yep. But it's one of those things where I think it's taxation, if anything, because you have to apply for permits in every single state you visit. New England is tiny compared to half the other states in the country, and if you can travel between 5 states in one day, no problem, and the fact that you have different laws in every state and you have to have permits in every state, it's kind of bullshit, because it's like, if you drive for work and you want to carry and your job allows you to do that, then you should be able to do that, in my opinion, because it's like, you shouldn't have to deal with 5 different sets of laws regarding one thing that, you've already taken safety courses and had background checks on and stuff. So
the other thing that's interesting about Minnesota is that our permit allows you to also carry a rifle if you wished. You could have it not shouldered, sorry. You could have it on a sling, right? And carry a rifle with our permit.
It's a bit much.
It is my opinion that you really just shouldn't do that, because you are within your rights. Sure, you're within your rights to do so, but that doesn't mean, it's one of those things that you see these people on YouTube and they do that shit, and they just make the rest of us look like idiots, that have the permits and are trying to just defend ourselves, and that's the reason why we have them, like. I don't know. At least, you got people calling. I mean, in today's world, man, you're walking around the street with a fucking AR-15 slung on your shoulder.
Oh,
you're gonna get the cops called on you.
I don't even want to bring
they're going to come up to you and be upset about it.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy because they have to deal with you, first of all. Yeah. Because it's bullshit to them, because it's like they could be doing 20 other things that are
so
way
many
more
other things,
important than having to deal with someone just exercising their right and being a hard ass about it. Like, okay, for example, I watched a really good video one time about this guy in Florida open carrying an AR. I think it was technically an AR pistol, because it was like, it looked very AR style, had a longer barrel, and it had like some sort of brace or stock. I don't think it was technically a stock. I think it was a brace, so I think that's what qualified it as an AR pistol. But anyways, in Florida, you can legally open carry your firearm while traveling to or coming from fishing or hunting activities. So, this guy was open carrying an AR pistol in public. He had his AR pistol on a sling on his front, and a tackle box and a fishing pole. And he went out fishing, and when he was coming back to his vehicle, he was stopped by the police. They basically were like, "All right, we need to identify you. We need to make sure you're good to go. Then we'll, get you on your way." And he goes, "Well, no, because I don't have to identify myself. I don't have to." They're like, "Can we at least get like a first name, something to call you?" And he's like, "Okay, you can have my first name." But he's like, "I'm not showing you my ID. I'm not showing you my permit. I'm not showing you anything. I don't feel safe. I don't answer questions." And they're like, okay. So obviously the first thing they do is get more units in there. And like next thing you know, there's like 10 cops on scene. They're all just kind of standing around because they know he's not like an imminent threat or anything, but it's just this guy's acting a little weird.
Well, the difference between him being an imminent threat and not being an imminent threat is about 2 seconds that it takes to, pull that rifle up. But so they didn't, still on edge,
They're on edge, but they're standing around with their thumbs in their body armor, just going like, "So, what's your deal, man? Like, why are you being a jerk to us?
Yeah.
We're just trying to do our job." And he's like, obviously knowledgeable about the laws because otherwise in Florida, open carrying is not allowed, right? So like they just find it a little bit weird that a guy is open carrying in Florida. So he's like, "Well, as accordance to Florida, law, this, that. He's like, "Okay, well, obviously this guy knows what he's talking about." And he's like, "I do this every time I go fishing. I open carry my firearm."
Yeah, Dyer has a good point. He said, especially in Florida, sometimes gators, you've got gator problems, and it's definitely a good idea to be armed if you're going to be in a spot with gators that are, active and you're, doing stuff like that. Like, them gators.
Them gators. I'll get you.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, same thing with the guy in Texas. They just kind of went, "All right, well, as long as you feel safe and everything's good, we're just gonna cut you loose." But they try to get you with the whole, "Well, we're doing an investigation. We have to identify you because of X. Well, we got a call." It's like, no, a call is not a crime. A call is a concerned citizen. That is not a crime.
Right.
That there's a whole thing with people that are like, what do they call that? Like, it's like the people that believe that like they know all the laws and, they know their way around and know what they can and can't do. They stretch their rights a little bit, like First Amendment auditors. That's what they call them. So it's a big thing here now. And sovereign citizens.
I don't mind First Amendment auditors, right? First Amendment auditors are okay for me because like they're just walking around, doing their literal, right to free speech, right to, travel, right to, all of that kind of stuff where you just are,
sovereign citizens bother me.
Exercising that. Yeah, sovereign citizens bother me because they genuinely believe the crap that they're saying and none of it is real,
Are you familiar, Mike, with sovereign citizens?
Bullshit.
No.
So,
oh god.
Okay, I'll give you the briefest explanation I can. So, a sovereign citizen is reading the law as written word by word. They are like the most stringent on like the wording of every law.
Right. Okay.
They believe that they have the right to travel without permits or anything like that. So they don't register their vehicles. They don't inspect their vehicles. They don't insure their vehicles.
They don't get driver's licenses.
They don't get driver's licenses.
They basically...
They feel that it's an inherent right to travel.
Yeah, that you're not driving. I'm traveling.
Right, and they never call it driving. It was like, "Well, I'm traveling," and they don't call it a vehicle. They call it a vessel. So essentially, these laws that they're referring to were written in the 1800s for boats. So people can travel up and down rivers and, point A to point B via boat.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially making it so that they could go from territory to territory without needing any special permits to do so. And this is as long as you're not traveling for work purposes, not for hire, is a big thing for
commercial.
for them, not for commercial.
Right.
So if you're a
Right.
taxi driver, if you're transporting people, like if you're driving for Uber or something, then that would be commercial, and they would require you to have a permit for that.
Yeah.
But since they are just they don't traveling, since they're just merely traveling in their vessel, they don't need to do any of this. And like half the time they're driving some shitty hoopty with like a missing door or something. So that's fun. But they put like these things on their license plate holders, like where the license plate needs to go, a number plate, where that says like the law, or it says like citizen or something like that. It says like words that look sort of license plate ish, but are just a piece of paper slapped on there. That basically is telling the cops that you're gonna be a dickhead and not comply with anything they tell you. They don't like open the window, or they crack it like a millimeter, and they don't identify themselves.
So the real big issue, right, is that essentially they're confusing the statutes, right? Essentially they're taking statutes, right, and being like, this is the law, right? When statutes are one piece of the law, right? Case law is a huge factor in the United States, where like there's a lot of things that precedent that establishes this and that or the other, and it's very complicated and all that kind of stuff. So that's why you need an attorney, because like there's just no way that you're going to be able to figure all of that out on your own. And
they can quote those too, by the way. They can just rattle off a number of legal cases.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to wear my seatbelt because of this particular case. And it was like,
yeah, but there's like always like 5,000 reasons. Like when you see the good videos where the cops know what they're talking about, they're always like, right, however, and then they'll go into the like other statutes that precede that and all that. It's just fucking,
and it's like
basically they're just being a pain in the ass because they don't
they don't
think that the laws apply to them.
Right. They believe that they're above the law. That's like, you don't have jurisdiction over me. Like, I'm
a citizen of the earth.
Right. Like, I am a citizen of the earth. I don't reside. Like, yes, I reside in your what you call a state or whatever, but like I don't
recognize any of that.
Yeah, I don't recognize that, and I don't claim to be a permanent resident of anywhere. I'm a citizen of the earth or whatever. But God, they do it everything in their power to be a dickhead about it.
This is what I was trying to do a little bit when I was still doing vaping stuff. I was like, man, we should just create a religion, right? You can call it Church of the Cloud, and
you can't
our
persecute
religious
us.
offerings. Right, our religious offerings, are flavored e-liquids, right? You know what I mean? Like what are you gonna say? Like, oh no, sorry, you can't have that. Well, it's necessary in our religion to have this and to have fellowship, like, and all this kind of stuff, and and that was back when like the laws were like, like you could get flavored e-liquid in all 50 states and all that kind of stuff, and now that you can't, I'm like sitting here being like, when am I going to get around to making this religion?
Right. How do I file the paperwork for this?
People laughed at me, but I guarantee you now there'd be people who would be like, it's a good idea,
Imagine.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that the Vape Easy Club hasn't come out yet.
I just find it crazy. Like, you guys over there, at least, well, I mean, maybe Demo can have it too, but like, our alcohol regulations in the state, for us, we can't have mail order alcohol.
We can't have mail order spirits. We can have wine and beer mail order.
Okay.
So it's, however,
however, you can have Uber Eats just pick up you a bottle of booze.
Yes.
And drop it off immediately, boom, right to your door.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to show your ID to the person, but like, it's...
Yeah, but point being is that, okay, well, you can't order something, that you want special, right? Let's say there's a bottle of bourbon or something that I want. Well, I can't just order it, but I can have it delivered same day, usually within the hour.
Yeah, it is a tax-related thing. Yeah, it's less about the like sort of prohibitionary attitude, more about taxes and money and stuff.
All about money. It's always about money.
So in Wisconsin, just an hour east, again, I can go get 190 proof Everclear, right? And however, I can't get that in Minnesota, 151. So if I want, or I can only get up to 151 proof here in Minnesota. So if I wanted the real deal, I just have to drive an hour east and then get it and come back. You know, it's like,
oh,
but it's not illegal to possess that here. It's just you can't buy it here.
Right.
You know,
But that's taxes. That's all tax bullshit too. I could get Everclear in Connecticut. I can't get it here. So
not that you'd want it because it's fucking vile shit. But you know,
but I was going to show you. This is made with Everclear. There's a lot of sediment in there. But this is, you know,
apple pie
moonshine. So this is made with Everclear and apples and pears and stuff. Like, you can't make that here because it's made with a spirit that we don't sell.
I used to make my own cola, right? I used to make my own cherry cola, and in order to have, you'd use essential oils, like a combination of essential oils, and dissolve them in a certain amount of Everclear, and that would then you'd use like, you know, a third of a gram of that per your entire like liter of that. So ultimately, the alcohol content would be negligible for it, right? It'd be, you know, essentially below 0.5%, you know, well below 0.5. But you needed the really strong Everclear in order to get those essential oils to fully dissolve and like become fully available. Otherwise, you'd have to use more essential oils and more Everclear and stuff like that, and it would be a problem. So, you know, I used to go to Wisconsin and get that shit for that. But, you know, that was like the only time, except for when I was really young, we used to mix Everclear, orange juice, and a packet of Crystal Light.
Oh.
And that sounds terrible now to me, but you know what? It fucking worked, man. You could put like this much Everclear in a 16-ounce, you know, pint glass, right? And, you know, normally that would be impalatable, but
we made
pretty schnackered on that.
We used to make jungle juice with like a whole bottle of that in a 5-gallon jug, and then just like Hawaiian punch and like orange juice and Sprite and like all this stuff, and that would be the party punch.
Do you remember the rap song back in the day, fucking Caribou Lou, 151 rum off the jug, or fuck, I can't even remember it now. Fuck, it was 151 rum, Malibu, and pineapple juice.
Oh, that's good.
We used to make big coolers of that for parties.
Hell yeah,
so good,
dude. That's what yeah. Isn't that?
Yeah, no, we can get any alcohol we want, mail order.
Yeah. You guys have such a lax stance on alcohol laws, and
I used to belong to a whiskey club, and I used to get mail order whiskey sent to me every month.
On a mail order whiskey.
You got wine clubs, you got beer clubs, you got gin clubs over here.
They never had a war over it. That's very true. Nor did you guys ever ban alcohol, at least to my knowledge, at any point in time. Yeah.
Let's see.
What a failure.
Let's Google it.
Prohibition?
UK prohibition.
I don't think people would have accepted a prohibition in the UK, much like they didn't accept a prohibition in the United States.
It's never been prohibited. Various groups in the UK have campaigned for the prohibition of alcohol, including Society of Friends, the Quakers, the Methodist Church, and other nonconformists, as well as temperance movements. Oh, so Quakers, the people that came over here. Classic. Thanks for that. So you're the reason. I mean, obviously, you're the reason that we've had
it's all your fault.
Prohibition. But yeah. Fucking
but work this out, right? A couple of miles down the road, I've got a town called Clapham.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Clapham has got a building there that has still got the sign on it saying Temperance Hall. Right. Have a guess what that building actually is now.
A bar.
Yeah, a brewery.
Wetherspoon's Pub.
Classic.
I love that.
Right.
We still in the United States, we still have dry counties in certain states. Like a county itself can prohibit the sale of alcohol.
The county
in its jurisdiction.
In which Jack Daniels is made. Too. Yeah. The county in which Jack Daniels is made is a dry county.
That's hilarious.
But you're allowed on the grounds to drink, but they don't sell it, they give it to you. So I think that's how they get around it.
Yeah.
So weird. I don't think you can be drunk in the county, that like being inebriated or whatever is technically illegal or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
In public, that is. I think at your house it's still fine. But yeah, we have a lot of really, really old laws that don't make sense anymore.
Yeah, we have as well.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Old laws that don't apply. There we go.
I mean, there's an ancient law in England that if you live in York and on a Sunday you see a Scot, like a Scottish person, you can shoot them with a bow and arrow.
Oh my god, that's great.
And that dates back to the Middle Ages, like the medieval time.
Okay. I got a list here. We're gonna have some fun. It's New Year's. Let's have some fun. Okay. In Arkansas, it's illegal to mispronounce the state's name. Nobody likes to have their name pronounced incorrectly, but Arkansas took it a step further by making it into law. If you're not sure how to properly pronounce it, it's best to do your research in the state's official code before visiting. In Connecticut, a pickle cannot be sold unless it bounces. That is interesting, because at the shop we just started selling Bill Daddy pickles, which are like one of the vape guys made a pickle company basically, and I want to see if they bounce now. When's the last time you checked to see the pickle you're about to eat bounces when dropped? In Connecticut, you might be breaking this outdated law if you don't check. This law was originally enacted in 1948. Oh, wow. That's actually more recent than I thought. Yeah. I mean, to prevent fraudulent salesmen from selling unfit pickles. Today, the law still exists, but of course it isn't actually enforced.
But see, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure just a regular old cucumber also bounces. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
Dire Thing says in PA it's illegal to put squirrels in your pants for gambling purposes. I need to have a backstory. I wonder if that's on this list. Hold on, we'll just carry on. In Indiana, black cats are required to wear bells around their necks on Friday the 13th. Oh, the small town of French Lick Springs, I'm not making that up, takes superstition seriously. In 1939, the law was put into effect during the World War II era to ease public stress. It still exists today, so if you're looking for a place to test your luck on the next Friday the 13th, Indiana might be a good place to be. In Maryland, it's illegal to swear while driving.
Okay.
You might want to dial back the road rage if you're driving through Rockville, Maryland. If you're caught breaking this law, you can face a misdemeanor charge and a fine. So be sure to keep it clean if you decide to visit this town. Wouldn't that affect the First Amendment right? Or is that like a thing where it's like, oh, it's a public nuisance or something? That's not a crime, is it? I don't know. Pickling rotten produce was a thing, Demo. Apparently. What? That's kind of crazy. In New Jersey, it's illegal to commit a violent crime while wearing a bulletproof vest. Seems a bit more reasonable.
I mean, yeah.
Of course. Well, yeah.
You know, of course, the issue of it being a violent crime in the first place isn't the problem here. It's just the vest.
It's just an added charge, really. Of course, violent crimes by themselves are always illegal, but New Jersey enforces an extra charge for wearing a bulletproof vest. Although there aren't many cases where this has been enforced recently, the state reserves the right to add additional charges for anyone that violates this law. In Oklahoma, it's illegal to wrestle a bear. Okay. You probably haven't broken this one, but it is interesting. In this state, people were wrestling bears so much that they had to make it illegal. If caught, a fine and potential jail sentence is at stake. What? Oh, this is a good one. In Rhode Island, it's illegal to impersonate an auctioneer. You won't be able to test your speed talking abilities if you're in Rhode Island. Impersonating an auctioneer falls under the state's false personification laws. However, if you're really passionate about pretending to be an auctioneer, the maximum fine for violating this law is only $100. Now you know.
The more you know.
Body armor stuff. Go on,
Definitely
Mike.
some pathetic law there, isn't there?
Yeah. The other thing says that body armor stuff came from the Hollywood bank job. Ooh. Well, I mean, is it a violent crime if you're defending yourself against the police? In Gainesville, Georgia, it's illegal to eat fried chicken with a knife and fork. Well, this law was passed in 1961 to get publicity for the town as the self-proclaimed poultry capital of the world. A local paper stated that the law was never actually codified, though it is said that people have been humorously arrested for the offense. Okay. In the University Hill section of Boulder, Colorado, it's illegal to put unholstered furniture on your porch. It's illegal to put upholstered furniture on your porch. Wow.
Unholstered.
Unholstered.
A lot of gun conversation here.
Yeah, I know. In this area, the home of University of Colorado Boulder, there will be no couches, recliners, or any upholstered furniture on your porch. This law was an attempt to stop students from lighting couches and other pieces of furniture on fire. Damn it. The damn kids. It's always the damn kids. Finally, if you're a fan of dairy in Wisconsin, hey, butter and cheese are required to be highly pleasing. Since this state is known for dairy farming, they take pride in protecting their reputation. The Wisconsin state legislature...
That is true. And most of their cheese and butter is highly pleasing.
It's true. The Wisconsin state legislature contains several ordinances detailing these palatable requirements for both cheese and butter. So if you're looking for dairy that's required to be delicious by law, you'll find what you're searching for in Wisconsin.
So that is also has to do with if you have the, like, if it says real Wisconsin cheese, there's like a certifying body in Wisconsin. So like if you don't have that certification, it's fine. But like if you want that certification, which you do if you're in Wisconsin, then you have to go through a certifying board where they tell you whether your cheese is good or not.
This is certifiably good cheese. I do say, my good boy.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, so those are some outdated laws. I want to go to Rhode Island and pretend to be an auctioneer now. I could get there in about an hour, tops. In Connecticut, I want to bounce pickles, so I have 2 laws that I could potentially break. Let's go. I don't know.
Oh, from your shop, you could probably toss a bloody pickle to Connecticut.
Well, my shop is in Connecticut because Connecticut doesn't have the ban. Massachusetts has the ban. I could definitely toss a pickle into Massachusetts. Not from the shop. It's about 300 yards. But still, though, it's pretty damn close. I can walk down the street a little bit and then throw it into Massachusetts. Like, aha! I'm breaking a Connecticut law by bouncing a pickle into Massachusetts.
But you're not breaking it if it bounces.
If it does bounce, right. So, well, there's the test. There's the test. Wisconsin also spent like 3 decades trying to end margarine and other dairy substitutes. Good Lord, they really...
That makes sense.
I mean, how many cows are in Wisconsin?
Dude, oh my God. There are so many cows in Wisconsin. I got a good one for you. There's so many cows in Wisconsin that there's literally a road trip game that we would play going through Wisconsin called the Those Are My Cows game, or the cows game, right? Where basically if you see a group of cows, you look at those and you say, those are my cows, right? And then you have one cow, right? And every fence that separates a group of cows, so you could say those 2 are my cows, right? Because if there's like a fence in between 2 groups of cows, you've got 2 groups of cows. Now, if someone else spots a graveyard or a cemetery, then they would say, "That's my cemetery," and then they'd pick someone in the car's cows to kill. And
What the fuck?
at the end of the road trip, whoever had the most cows wins.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's new. Yeah, I never heard that one before. That's
You could do that in the UK with sheep, I think, right? Probably.
That would be Wales.
Oh, okay.
You could do it in the UK with just about any type of animal, though. I've been on train trips. Just the train journey down to Brum from Jenny's, we saw a ton of different. Like we saw horse farm, sheep farm, cow farm, everything.
Now, see, if you look off and you see a group of horses and you say those are my cows or sheep or whatever, then you lose one cow, right? You got to be correct about them being cows. That's part of the game.
They're like, oh, I see them. You drive by, you're like, oh no.
I see, Dyer. That was not my parents that did that. It was a friend of mine who grew up in Wisconsin. When we were driving down to Florida, she looks out the window and goes, "Those are my cows," and we were like, "What?" And she was like, "You've never played the cow game?" You know, and like,
Cow game.
you know, it kept us alert. You know, like we were looking out for cows and shit. You know, as a driver, you know, and you're trying not to fall asleep and be sleepy. Then that
We only played the
kinda helps.
license plate thing. I don't remember what the rules were for the license plate game, but like just kind of like collected as many states as you could. Like, ooh, Maine. Oh, look over there, that's Florida. Oh. You know. Well, yeah, because if you're on a long enough road trip, you get to experience a lot of different states.
I gotta use the bathroom. BRB.
Yeah, no, literally over here, all people do is they count up the different coloured cars you can get.
Jenny's got a bunch of different games. Jenny said she does the punch buggy one.
Never heard of that one.
Oh, you never did punch buggy, where you see a VW bug, and if you see a VW bug, you punch someone in the arm?
No.
No? What about Mini? She said she does the same thing with minis. No?
Yeah, that one used to get done, yeah.
I forget what they called it, though. Like, forget. We played the one where, you had, we called it Popeye. Because, like, a car with one headlight out, you say Popeye, and you hit the ceiling. And if you don't hit the ceiling, the last one gets punched in the arm. A lot of arm punching in cars around here. By the end of a road trip, your arm would be all sore and bruised. You're like, ah. My childhood was different. Spot the unmarked cruisers. Yeah, see, that's the other big difference, I think, between the US and the UK is, like, we have our cops over here have unmarked cruisers, so they look like
Well, we have unmarked cars here as well.
Oh, okay. I mean, but like, so you have like all the speed cameras and stuff on the side of the roads and the motorways, right? So there's less need for police to just be sat there with radar guns and like trying to get people, because they'll just get them by default. Like if there's a speed zone with a speed camera, and if you don't slow down, you're fucked either way.
Yeah, but still quite often you're driving down the motorway, you'll see the old Bill on the gantry pointing their radar gun down at you.
Jeez. Like, yeah, around mine, it's like, you know, they hide really well on you. They like tuck themselves in behind overpasses, right? Like the cars would be like just a little nose sticking out. But one of the interesting things about Massachusetts law, since we're sort of on the subject still, is that it's entrapment if they turn all of their lights off. So they have to have at least some form of lighting on their vehicle lit up at all times. Otherwise, it's entrapment. So they keep their, the parking lights on, or like whatever the little amber ones are.
The yellows,
Yeah. So they keep those on, but every other light is off, and you're like, aha, I see you, you sneaky bastard.
Yep. But over here, if you just say you get pulled over for speeding, right? The policeman comes up to you, says, do you know what speed you were doing? The one answer to get yourself out of trouble with them? No, officer. Why don't you tell me what speed you were doing to catch up to me?
Yeah, I'm sure. No, that would just piss them off more.
Because they
Also,
are,
I mean,
even when they use their blues and twos, they are not allowed to break the speed limit.
Really?
Yep.
So is there just no
What?
police chases over there at all?
Oh, we do get them.
How do they work that out? Low speed chases.
probably gotta get permission or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Because we can only pit vehicles if they're doing a certain speed and the traffic is clear. But you watch, like, man, there's so many police chases in here. You could have a 24-hour marathon of nothing but police chase videos. Easily.
Yeah.
That's just the ones that make it on television.
Yeah, we get them as well. Especially for areas like Manchester and Liverpool and that.
I mean, shit, when we were at Expo last time in May, there was a group of, like, street racer cars just cruising between the two roundabouts, like, at the Expo area. They were literally just drifting around the roundabouts, driving back, and you could hear them. And it's just like, it went on for like over an hour. I'm like, how have they not been lit up by the cops yet? Like, they would shut that shit right down over here.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift style. I don't know. I find it
Yeah,
wild.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to go to what we used to call Chelsea Cruise, which was like on a Friday night it was motorcycle night, and on a Saturday night it was car night. And I mean, I used to go on the Friday night and the Saturday night. And on the Friday night, I'd be flying up and down the road over Chelsea Bridge on my back wheel of my bike and all that.
Huh.
I'd never got old Bill hassle or anything. Never got any hassle from him.
Crazy. I mean, we get hassled by the cops a lot over here for stuff. But, like, you know, when you see a car that's, like, got a headlight out and all beat up and old looking, and we basically call that rolling probable cause, because it's like an excuse for the cops to pull you over and search your car. Because they're gonna, you know, they pull you over, they suspect you're hiding something in your vehicle. They can't just search it right away. They have to have probable cause to do so. They also have to have probable cause to stop you. So they get you on something silly like, oh, your taillight's dim, or, you know, you have a license plate light out or something like that. Some little teeny tiny minor infraction. They get you pulled over. And when they get you pulled over, they go, what's that smell? I smell weed. Do you have weed in the car or something? They go, no. They go, okay, well, would you mind if we search it? And you go, no. They go, well, we're going to get a dog out here and we'll sniff the car. So they get the dog out there. Go on.
They ask you the question specifically in the, you don't mind if we search it, do you? And it's very hard to, because if you say yes, then they can say, okay, we can search it. And if you say no, then you're like, oh, so you don't mind, you know? So you have to be very clear, like, you know, no, I do not want you to search my car, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, then they call the dog, but they have to, there is a law that says that they can't keep you for more than is reasonable.
Yeah.
Right. But see, the thing is that the courts consistently are like, yeah, whatever, you know, they just basically are like, yeah, that's reasonable, you know.
They're going to side with the cops.
Bullshit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But, like, when it comes to, like, the dog, right? If the dog triggers, no one really knows what a dog trigger looks like, right? So if they go, oh, the dog triggered, you know, he sat down, that's a dog's trigger.
Yeah.
He said that there's drugs in the car. Then they go, well, we now have probable cause to search. And they are within their rights to search the car. Even though, like, you know, they can search it and they can find nothing. Even though the dog, you know, did his little thing. But it's like, they just want to search your shit. And they don't want to have to get a warrant to do so.
Mhm.
One of the things, the little funny little laws around here is if your trunk or your glove box has a lock, like if your glove box has a lock on it, they're not allowed to search that without a warrant. And I think even if a dog signals, because, like, they'll be like, "Can you
They
unlock
have to
that?"
ask you again.
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Can you unlock this?" And if you say no, then they have to get a warrant. So silly little things
Yep.
like that. But every other
had that
surface
happen
in
to
the
me
car,
one
they can
time,
tear it
and
apart.
I basically was like, I'm not going to physically resist you, but I'm not complying with any of your, like I do not,
I'm not.
basically what was it? I do not consent to searches and seizures without a warrant. So
Right.
basically it was like, if you physically force it, then I'm not going to resist. Right. But, yeah, like I'm also not going to say yes.
I'm not going to
And,
assist you.
They just let me go. Yeah.
Yeah. You could
Because
say
they were just looking for something to do.
they're going to say, or you're going to say, I'm not going to unlock it for you. So, and I don't consent to search. So they're going to go, okay, well, we can get a warrant. And they go, do that. Go for it. If it's like 2 a.m. or something, you're going to have to wake up a fucking judge for it. Look, half the time they'll probably give up before that. But, it's not that. I mean, I don't do anything, right? I don't have a firearm. I don't use drugs of any illegal sort. So I don't really have a reason to fight a cop on it, but it's one of those things going back, circling around to the earlier topic of like First Amendment auditing. It's like, you don't want to give the cops an inch, right? Because they'll take a mile and they'll go,
Right.
well, we found this or something, some bullshit. It's like, good no, like, especially when cannabis was still illegal in the state. A lot of times they would say things are paraphernalia, right? They'd get you on that stupid misdemeanor bullshit charge. And a lot of times they're just looking for money. Money! It's always about money. Because last thing you're going to do is fight them on it. So a lot of times it's a ticket. You just pay the ticket and be about your day. You don't want to have to go to court, stand in court and go, it was, it was like a scale or a pipe or something like that, and it's like they don't find anything on it or in it or whatever. A lot of cops, though, they don't want to have to go to court because the arresting officer or the charging officer has to show up for a court date if you decide to go to court. So a lot of times they would just take your bowl and then smash it right in front of you. They'd be like, well, I'm going to destroy it then. You can't have this. You'd be like, fine, I just bought that thing. They'd just break it. Stomp out a little dime bag of weed or something right in front of you. Like, well, you can't have this, and if you don't want a charge for it, I'm going to have to destroy it. I'm sure some cops just pocketed it, but other cops just dump it out right in front of you, stomp on it a few times, and be like, get out of here. They don't want to have to deal with you. As much as you don't want to have to deal with cops, they don't want to have to deal with you. Because at the end of the day, it's a job just like any other job.
Well, unless they've decided that they do.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's
in
true.
In which case, some cops are just like, they just
Power
want to make
trip.
your life suck. So, it's like, cool.
There's always that one cunt.
Yeah. That's been on the force for way too long and is just a bitter asshole and wants to ruin someone else's day.
Or has not been on the force long enough.
Or yeah, you got the newbie that really needs to like prove himself and make a name, because like they do.
They say the average,
quota.
the average like time on the force for those types of cops is typically we're between like 2 and 3 years, is what they said, because you've been on long enough to know what you're doing, but not long enough to really understand the impact of what you're doing on the community,
Or have to just bother or deal with, the community itself. Like, I don't know, Demo, you watch Code Blue Cam at all?
Oh yeah.
So, on Code Blue Cam, it's a YouTube channel if anyone's interested. They show body cam footage of police interactions from, is it Wisconsin? Yeah.
It's primarily Wisconsin.
Primarily
Wisconsin. La Crosse,
Wisconsin, right.
Wisconsin.
La Crosse County, Wisconsin, which has become sort of famous.
One of the drunkest place in the United States.
Well, yeah. So notorious, like infamous, if you will, for having these sort of characters that keep getting in trouble. And there's a couple of them now at this point. The channel's been going on for quite a while, where they just have a reputation for fucking up. And everyone's just like waiting for the next video to come out. Yes, dire thing, Noah. Fucking Noah. That kid.
La Crosse, Wisconsin cinematic universe. For real.
But there's
though.
lore and there's everything behind these characters, and it's like there's Noah, and then there's this other girl that was like this, always getting in trouble because she doesn't have a fucking license, and she always gets caught like driving while suspended and this and that, and or without a seatbelt, and like the latest one is like it was a seatbelt charge. And like she's like, well, you know who I am. You've seen the videos. Like, I'm famous in this place. Blah blah blah. And the guy's like, no, I swear to God, I haven't. I'm new and this and that. She's like, okay, whatever. This is bullshit. Like, you're just getting me because you want to give them footage or whatever. You're working together. And like, it's basically Code Blue Cam, from the best of what I could gather, is just a person that files a bunch of freedom of information paperwork, like, and gets their hands on the footage.
Yeah, and La Crosse is very forthright with their FOIA requests. So like you file a FOIA request, you get the footage. Like it's not. Some jurisdictions really fight you on it.
So essentially, this guy can make a video about something that's happened a month ago or less, and he basically or this person rather, will make a video on someone in town, and like people are dying to see more footage of it, basically because all the previous videos are crazy interactions with the police. Mm-hmm. But like they're so crazy and they're so ridiculous with like their crimes, and you're just like, why do you keep committing crimes? Stop.
We have shit like that. I think the program we have is called Police Interceptors.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out because I want to see some UK stuff.
Yeah, they show the like the motorway chases and things like that, and chasing kids on mopeds and all that shit.
Yeah. I'm always kind of interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, little kids on overgrown fucking hairdryers trying to get away from them.
There's like a thing around here
Ring, ding, 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 ding.
where it's like
Was it you that made the crazy frog ringtone?
No, I was just a kid during the time that it was really popular. So
yeah, I was.
It's just
I may not look it, but I was.
there's like a thing where like if you're going over 200 miles an hour, the cops can't chase you legally. Oh, all the street racers, it's like their goal is to like basically have the cops give up on you.
But I know over here there's a certain speed you can go where the speed cameras don't catch you.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Dyer says Donuts videos are honestly more entertaining than Code Blue. This is true. Yeah, I mean if you want the color commentary version.
I have an issue with Donut Operator personally.
Lately, I have as well. Go on.
It's my biggest issue is with him is that, and you call me whatever name you want, in response to this, I suppose, but I don't appreciate YouTubers who are making money on and trying to entertain on videos where real people are actually dying, because it's one of those things that's like, some people are just fucking morons and they're doing stupid shit, but a lot of the people that he covers have serious mental health issues, and he's talking about like, oh, this cop smoked him, or whatever like that. Yeah. And it's like, cool, like I don't know, it just seems to me like it's a little bit over the line, like,
it's very insensitive for him to do that. And meanwhile then pitches merch, and
he's also a cop, which makes me kind of less
former cop, former
I feel
Navy.
Like you gotta be it's not very professional, like, but that's just
when I was a teenager, it was popular to watch the old snuff videos.
Oh Jesus! I mean, I think every edgy teen goes through a phase where you watch like the videos that don't make it to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them personally. I find them disturbing. I mean, it's not
Oh,
that I can't handle it, but it's just like I
I
just don't.
remember one of them was a young girl. She can't have been more than sort of like 24, 25. And she just sat down at the dining room table and blew her heads out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just saw her brains splatter all over the wall behind her.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Why would I want to see that?
Yeah.
Like we've all.
I get what you're
watched
saying,
those types of
Dyer.
videos,
It's to me that's kind of I look at that a little differently. Not growing up with cops, that kind of was like, well, so if he's being respectful, then.
But
you
okay,
know.
I'll put it
I
this
don't
way:
know.
at the end of the day, being a cop is a job just like anything else. You have to deal with massive like amounts of like mental trauma. You see things that no one should ever have
I
to
get
see.
it. Yeah.
However, if you meme on someone being shot in the head for having like a manic episode and getting like a wellness check or something, then it's not very nice. I mean, to other cops, that shit's hilarious, you know.
Sure.
Some of
You
them,
got to
at
deal
least.
with the things that are happening to you with same with doctors, right? Like there's incredibly dark humor in those professions because of the things that go on. But like, that doesn't, I don't know. The issue is because it's on YouTube and he's entertaining and making money off of it. Like all of those things to me together, I don't know. It's different than watching the Los Angeles Police Department's YouTube channel where it's not monetized. And it's like, this is the critical incident community briefing. It's done professionally in a studio by the captain of the, media relations division. Like it's, much more, this is what happened. We're just showing it to you, type of thing. As
That's
opposed to
one reason I like the Code
anything
Blue
else.
Cam, because it's a bit more on the professional side. They just kind of let the videos play out and with minimal commentary. Although they themselves have been getting involved with the kind of memeing on people in certain little digs. But they kind of do it to
I
the
don't mind
cops,
memeing on
too.
people as long as they're not dying, or getting severely injured.
I'm sure you've seen the videos
that's
where
the issue
the cops,
that I have with it.
like when he cuts to like a really zoomed in like section where the cop just is giving the eyeball like, oh my god, this person's being ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or like when
Yeah.
they fist bump each
Those are
other and
funny.
he does the little sound effect. It's like, "Eeter."
Yeah.
find that's
Those
that's
are fun.
funny.
I'm okay with those.
Right. But like, oh shit, yeah, he just blew his head off or something. It's like that person just died. Like, oof, big oof.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like Dire Thing said, yeah, for public standards. But that's the thing; it's a public platform, right? It's YouTube. If it was an internal little video that you show your buddy or something, like if it was a cop-only YouTube, then yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair enough, Dyer. I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and be like, no one should watch his videos. It's just my personal
I think he's still
feelings on him are what they are.
he's
He's
still
entertaining and
very
I
entertaining.
used to watch his videos a lot, but
Yeah, I still watch his videos when they pop up, but it's like you could be doing it with a bit more class. I don't know. I'm also not like a big thin blue line or whatever kind of person or any of that. I'm always riding the moderate line with everything. So it's like,
yeah, I try really hard to be neutral for that kind of stuff because there's
there's a lot of
it's not cut and
circumstances where
dry.
cops
None of it is
fuck up
cut and
too.
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those instances, and there's a lot of videos. What is it? Like I watch Audit the Audit, right? So
Yeah, that's one of my favorite channels.
Audit the Audit is a First Amendment auditor, like person rating them on how they go about doing it, and they rate not only the person auditing, but also the cops' response to it. And so in some cases, the cops fail massively because they don't know their own laws and they don't know what rights the people have, and they try to, do things that are illegal in some circumstances in order to get what they need out of a situation.
Yeah, and that's important to have that stuff out there so that you can see that.
Mm-hmm. You just don't want to. Neither side should be pushing those boundaries too far, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That genre in general got worse when they started cracking down on the cops' internal communications. Yeah. I think there's a lot out there. Like I watch a lot of the gun tubers and I watch a lot of the cop tubers and stuff. Like there's a guy, Popo Medic. I don't know if you heard of him. part of the whole group of gun streamers and operators, and former military, current law enforcement type people. But he does little mini docs on like shooting, like kind of famous cases. Like there was like the time that the LAPD versus the Crips or whatever. He did a thing about that. He did a whole breakdown of the Hollywood shooting, which I found really good. But he does it in a way that's like informative more than entertaining. I mean, there's a little entertainment value in there, but he does a really good job with stuff like that. He does like cool operator shit, like famous the Black Hawk Down mission he just did, I think, and a lot of that kind of stuff. But he does it in these little 15-minute videos, and it's good stuff. But yeah,
I've got to admit, I don't find anything about that sort of thing entertaining.
I mean, it would be different for you because I mean, you could watch videos all about the SAS and stuff, but
yeah,
the whole thing with SAS is the S part stands for secret. So
no, it doesn't.
That was Secret Air Service.
No, Special Air Service.
Special Air Service. Okay, fine. Special Air Service. A lot of what they do is under wraps, right? They don't publicly state like, oh yeah, we had the SAS do this. No, that's not the point. The point is for them to be anonymous, and a lot of their operators stay anonymous even after they get out.
Yep.
And to this day, there's been hundreds of people that are completely unknown to the world that have done things that have potentially saved a lot of people in crisis situations. So like, props to the SAS. I think they have a lot of dignity in that aspect. And
the SAS actually trains a lot of the special forces worldwide.
Mm-hmm. As well they should, because they're very good at their job.
Mm-hmm. That's why the SAS are the best of the best in the UK.
The hostage situation at the Iranian embassy and that kind of thing, where they saved a bunch of people but they have to deal with the worst people, and they are very good at executing the mission at hand.
Yep.
Discreetly and quickly, and as quick as quiet as they can, basically. And whereas like in the US, we have like whole press conferences like, hey, SEAL Team 6 just did this thing. Yeah, we got them, baby. Let's go. Yep. We put emphasis on what our people do. Like after every time like a drone shoots a freaking vehicle, or something in the desert somewhere, we have a press conference about it. Not every time. There's a lot of stuff that we don't hear about until years later.
Yep.
But
again, the SAS, they've got the only motto that rings true to them.
Mm-hmm.
He who dares wins.
Dyer says, we crossed the line of military versus police having the more interesting action in the 70s. Yeah. Oh, I mean, part of it was like real life stories like the Hollywood shootout. That's kind of where I feel like it sort of started, because that was the militarization of the police right there. That was the police going to a gun store, picking out rifles and shooting at the guys with bigger rifles. And the cartels as well. That's the other thing, is like a lot of border towns and stuff dealing with cartel issues and having the need for all that ex-military equipment, Bearcats and such. Yeah. It's New Year's Eve. What time is it over there? It is 10:30. Oh my God. Mike, you gonna make it till midnight?
Probably not.
That's fair enough. Everyone's like, oh, it's New Year's. I'm like, it's another day. It's another tick on the clock of the...
It's only New Year's Eve thanks to the Gregorian calendar.
And yeah, exactly. And the fact that we're accepting the format that is what we call time. You know, at the end of the day, I just think it's funny that our days are 24 hours and like what, 2 minutes or something. There's like a couple of minutes, 20 minutes or something extra on every day that we don't account for until 4 years comes around. Which, by the way, 2024 is it is a leap year. We're getting an extra day this year. Let's go. So we have to account for that.
So technically, does that mean people that were born on February the 29th, do they only actually have a birthday every 4 years?
Technically speaking. I mean, how else would you class that? I'm sure they celebrated on the 28th or the 1st, but, you know, it's one of those things where, technically speaking, if you were born on this date, and that date only comes around every 4 years, then you only have a birthday every 4 years.
That would be kind of fucked up if you were just starting school.
Right? I mean, you still have to be X amount of days, right? Like, so technically, yeah, okay, you are...
Over here, you start school at 4 years old.
Yeah. You'd be like, what? Freaking...
So if you were born
16 years
on
old.
February the 29th, you would start school when you were 1.
No, you'd start school at 16. If you're counting from 0.
Well, yeah.
So then 4 years comes around, and then you're 1 year old, and then 4 years comes around, then you're 2 years old. So it'd be 16 years old. You'd be driving to kindergarten, like that thing said. That'd be pretty cool. It's like, oh, I know shapes. Hell yeah, that's a triangle. Let's go. Finger paint, yeah. You'd be drinking by like middle school. You'd be like middle-aged by the time you get into high school. You're like, oh god, I already hate my life. Imagine if, legally speaking, you were literally only that old. You'd be an old, like, you'd be a geriatric by the time you even were able to get a driver's license. Or drink, for that matter, legally speaking. Billy Madison, yeah. Detroit Public Schools would finally get a C rating. Oh, God. Oh, man. Shit's funny.
Oh, I would definitely love to live in America with the gun laws.
You know, you should look into also New Hampshire, Mike. There's no sales tax or income. I don't think there's even income tax. There is property tax, but you could also have a lot of different guns that you can't have anywhere else in New England. But it's pretty cold. I don't know if you like the cold that much.
I don't do heat well.
Texas might be rough then. But then again, you'd have air conditioning.
Well, yeah.
And you'd have the wind, you know, when you're riding on the bike.
I was going to say, technically, I don't do heat well, but I would love to drive through Death Valley.
It's a dry heat, Mike, so, you know, you don't feel it as much. But, yeah, air conditioning is, like, a must in that part of the country. I mean, to be fair, air conditioning is necessary for me in summer, and it doesn't really get over 100 Fahrenheit here, so you should have a decent time. I think, you know, New England would remind you a lot more of home.
Yeah.
Because it's very similar climate. We are, technically speaking, we are more south, longitudinally speaking, than you guys are. You guys are slightly more north, which I find it strange that you also don't experience more snow than we do. But I guess it's lake effect and all that. Emo's probably had 1.5 feet by now.
No, we've been having like very little snow.
Oh, crazy!
Very little amount of snow.
That's true, dire thing. They have ocean weather, so everywhere is by the sea in comparison to over here, where you have like plain states that are just miles from the ocean.
Scotland's had quite a bit of snow, but over here, or down here, we've had just pissing down rain for the last few days.
Yeah. See, we get very similar weather too. That's the other thing. Is like Jenny will be like, "Yeah, it's raining," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's raining here too." You guys definitely get more rain than we do, but
I mean, we know if it's going to snow here when we hear that New York's had snow.
it's funny. Well, we have these things called nor'easters around here where, the snow comes down. I believe it comes down from the northeast. So all that freezing cold Canadian wind comes our way and just blankets us with snow and ice and everything else. Ugh.
I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, it sounds like Beirut outside now.
Oh, geez. Well, you also have been experiencing some kind of crazy weather with the tornado in Manchester.
Hey?
Yeah, there was a tornado in Manchester the other day.
Okay.
Yeah. It like damaged over 100 homes and
Well, I can think of one Mancunian I'd like it to take it away.
Puddle's apologizing for the Canadian wind. All right. As long as you don't get Mike up there, then we won't be downwind. So it's fine.
Hey, you never know. It could be arranged.
Oh, jeez.
I do have a cousin that lives in Vancouver.
Canadian gun laws are not good either, though. Full stop. Like, all right. I think we should get on out of here. Timo, how close to your final approach are you?
I just landed.
Oh, nice. That's why you're so quiet.
Yeah. I figured, I was like, I think this show will be over by the time I'm like, going to be descending. No, you're fine. And so but I can't pause because it's a career mode thing. So I had to do my landing.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, we got to get back together pretty soon and play some games together, Demo, because it's been too long. It's been a while.
I was thinking about doing some Ready or Not in my stream tonight.
I'm down.
Huh?
Yeah.
See if we can maybe get Eric involved too. That would be kind of fun.
This is true. He is streaming tonight. Should be at least because I know he's doing Phasmo Challenge mode when that comes out in a couple hours. So maybe if he's around, I think he's got Monday off, so he should be able to stay up nice and late. Maybe we could do it a little bit later on.
I'm back console gaming now.
Oh yeah. How's that PlayStation?
Well, I'm on the PlayStation 5 now.
How is it?
I fucking love it.
Everything transferred over nicely.
There was nothing to transfer over.
Really?
All my games were on. All the games I had were on disc.
Wow.
And now all the games I get are download.
So you had to buy them all.
I bought one game.
Ooh, Diablo.
Which was Diablo again.
Yeah.
And I've got Sniper Contracts 2, which I got for free. I got Sniper Elite 5 for free. And I've also downloaded World War Z Aftermath.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't played that one yet, so I don't know what that's like, but that was free as well.
Sweet.
I've
played World War Z before. It's pretty fun.
Cool. When I can afford it, I will be downloading the Cyberpunk.
Yes.
Yeah, I also want to play Cyberpunk too. I think I'm gonna pick it up.
And again, when I can afford it, I will be buying the RoboCop game.
Yeah, G's got that
I've
one.
heard that's fantastic.
I've heard it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
The cool thing they did with it is they allow you to upgrade the starting pistol all the way up to be used throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
So that
Right, because you gotta have the Cybercop, or you gotta have the RoboCop pistol.
Oh yeah.
That's that's necessary.
Yeah.
Of course. But
no, I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish is the fucking controller had better battery life.
Really?
The PS5 DualSense controller,
Yeah.
the battery life is terrible. You're talking 4 hours.
Really?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Man,
Oh, it's probably because that middle pad thing. It's like a touch pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be like.
And when you're a ham-fisted motherfucker like I am, you're always hitting it when you're trying to go through your fucking infantry.
Classic. Well, at least you're back gaming, you know? That
Yep.
suck. Would not want to deal with that.
I
Rumble
had
set to max, you can turn the rumble down, save a little
Oh.
bit.
Yeah, the rumble's set to max.
If you turn it down, you can save a little bit of battery life that way.
Okay.
A little bit. I thought there was a way you could like disable the touchpad too, but I can't remember. I don't know enough about consoles, to be honest.
What do I? I'll just use the fucking things. But, I was thinking about getting the Terminator game as well.
Terminator game. I don't think I've seen that one too much, to be honest. You know what you should get, Mike, is Doom Eternal.
I was never a Doom fan.
Oh, Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal is
it's
a
way
great game.
different than normal like Doom, like Doom.
Classic Doom.
Doom
Yeah.
Eternal is arena shooter kind of thing. So you go into a place, big open space with a lot of room to move around, and you basically just like zip through the level by double jumping and grappling and stuff like that. And you murder all the enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I've also got Battlefield 2042.
That's pretty good.
I won't play that because it's now pay to win.
Yeah, they got the bundles and stuff that you could buy. They tried going the whole Call of Duty route with it, and I don't think it worked out. G actually bought the back catalog of Battlefield, and he's loving it. All the World War I, World War II, and then Battlefield 3 and 4. Those games are so much fun. Just the campaigns alone, a lot of fun.
I did hear that Guitar Hero might be making a comeback.
I've heard that as well. I think we're gonna have a pretty good year.
That.
The next like year or two is gonna be great for gaming.
And if that is the case, that is one that I will definitely be fucking buying.
Yeah,
Because I love the original Guitar Hero games.
I've also heard more legitimate claims of a Skate 4 coming.
Okay.
I love the Skate games. They were by far like miles ahead of everything else. Like Tony Hawk got too cartoony and too arcadey for me.
Very sad about that.
The ones I used to like were the Dave Mirra BMX games.
Well, he's dead now, right? So
Well, yeah, I know.
Back.
I know. I mean, he topped himself, didn't he?
I don't remember what happened with him, but
I'm sure he committed suicide.
rough. Damn. But yeah, Dave Mirra games. I remember playing the bike part of Tony Hawk's American Wasteland and being like, this is pretty fun, but I don't think I could play a whole game like that. I've been that much of a big fan.
And I mean, I used to like the game Mirror's Edge as well, which was the parkour game.
Hmm.
Apart from the fact I used to get severe motion sickness with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I would love to play that with VR, but I'd probably not only fall over, but I would also
Probably
get
puke
sick.
up as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh shit. But yeah, we gotta get out of here because I'm sure everyone's already celebrating or going to bed.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we will check up with you guys more than likely next week. I don't think I have a reason as to not be on next week. Might have a
Okay.
facelift by then. I don't know. I'm gonna get it done when I can get it done. But still planning on
Give me a
moving.
shout, let you know.
Yeah, of course. I'll let you know at least 24 hours in advance whether or not anything's happening. But I don't. Let's put it this way. Same with everything else. I don't foresee there not to be a show. So we might as well just say, ooh. Might as well
Okay.
say there's going to be a show, unless otherwise noted. How about that?
One of you two start streaming.
Yeah, Demo's flying.
Ah,
I'm deboarding my passengers right now, and it's a beautiful sunset. So I just thought I would toss that up.
Beautiful.
fair enough.
Beautiful, man. Who are we going to raid?
Beautiful, man.
Whoa. Who's live right now? Ikey's live. He's doing a big thing. Emo, do you have any raids? Anyone on?
How the fuck do you know what all those controls are?
I have way too much free time. That's my only only thing that I have to say about that. But you know, it's mostly checklists, right? Like, you know, you watch videos, see what's what, and you know, sit in the cockpit for a couple hours with all of your with all of your checklists up and start flipping switches that it tells you to in the order it says, and good to go. Let me take a look at my Twitch, see if see what we got.
There we go.
Happy New Year.
Really.
Yeah, I know it's pretty dead today.
There's a streamer that I watch sometimes. He's probably not going to be great to raid, so never mind.
Yeah.
He's a real life Apache pilot. He's playing Hunt Showdown right now.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I think Andy's raiding out.
I don't think so. He's usually pretty unresponsive to chat, so I don't think it'd be a good one to raid.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's raid.
That's another thing I used to like watching the videos from. The Apache kill cams.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, those are wild.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go raid Take. He's playing Lethal Company right now. He's a good vibe.
I hate that game.
Liam bought that for me, so I've got that now.
I still might buy it, but like I don't know.
You should. It's fun.
I find that game so fucking boring to watch.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's just not. Yeah, I guess it's fun if you're playing, but I don't know if I could like stream it or anything. I don't. People are. Doesn't matter. Takey's funny and he's good and he's a good person.
Yeah, he's a good streamer.
He's a good streamer, so we're gonna go raid him. And we haven't raided him for a while, so and Demo can speak some German to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for being here. Hope you had fun. A lot of random stuff talked about today, but you know, at the end of the day, that's what the show is about.
It's kind of what the show is.
Bullshit. Perfect wrap up of the year. We didn't talk about anything holiday or anything related, but fuck it. Talking about some random laws, stupid things in this country, and you know, we still kind of go back and forth with the UK and discussing the differences. Oh,
yep,
we got a sneaky one in Puddle. Whoa, all the farts happening. All right, guys. We will see you next year. And
just remember, don't go making any New Year's resolutions. Just be the best you can be of you.
Oh, there you go. Look at that wholesome Mike. We got wholesome Mike to wrap up the year. Let's go.
And thanks for having me. Appreciate
anytime,
it.
Demo.
You're welcome anytime, Demo.
Anytime, buddy. All right. See y'all later. Bye. Peace.